Because you gotta have the pre-show puff as a part of this show. Otherwise, what fucking show are you even doing
They
anymore?
completely deny the meaning of pre-show.
Yeah, but
by putting it in the show.
They know bonus content's about to happen. It's about to get wet and wild. They can see us. They know. They know the vibe. All right. Now I'm feeling it. Now I'm feeling live. Hey everybody, welcome to bonus content. It's me. I'm here. I've got Jarrett Green. I've got Brian Nabeshin Jackson. It's just the three of us this week. Hi. Bonus content. Wanted to talk to you guys because it's been a big part of my week this week, and you tweeted at me about it, Jarrett. Cooking. Y'all been doing any cooking lately?
It's fucking all I do, I feel like.
Yeah, you cook all the time, Jarrett. So I'm curious if you were to come over here and cook with me, what would you want to cook together?
I don't know. I feel like everything is easier to do than we might be convinced it is. So like we don't really you don't need a plan before you get there. You can kind of just walk around and find some shit.
True.
That being said, I mean, we got plenty of time to figure that out, I think.
Yeah.
Because it looks like I'm not leaving, and neither are you, for a little bit longer.
Yeah. I'm probably going to die here in my tomb, this new home. I've started bricking up the walls, locking all the doors permanently.
As you should.
Yeah, I'm fully committed. The DoorDash driver can deliver through a slot in the brick wall. How often do you cook, Nabeshin? If ever? I don't know.
It's funny. I cooked a lot more before the quarantine than I am doing now. Unfortunately, I guess also because because of my new promotion, I'm always out. I'm always close to buy stuff. So it's I see that there, so I might as well just order that and just bring it home and call my nephew, say, hey, do you want this while I'm coming home? He's like, yes, and just give him free food type of thing. So
yeah, that's what would you make before?
I mostly I make breakfast a lot. Breakfast is the thing I really like making myself and preparing for myself. Dinner not so much. Usually I still go see my mom and she just does the food. So as far as dinner, she always prepares the way I like it, because I'm not too adventurous as far as food, as far as what I eat, because when I was a kid, I never really ate much of anything at all, and it wasn't until I moved into with my best friend Katie and Mark at the time, where I expanded my my palate of what I eat, because I was honestly hurting her feelings, because she cooked all the time, and I was no, I'm good with just grilled cheese and pizza, and I'm good as far as that. And she would make different stuff almost weekly, and I never tried any of her stuff because it was too new, and I wasn't into new things, and it was really hurting her feelings. So I expanded it, and I actually grown a good taste for her cooking. So whenever I go see Katie, it's always a pleasure to eat her food.
That's sweet. I like that.
Yeah, because I got tolerance is the wrong word to say, but I got used to it, eating her food after her cooking for a good year that we were living together, and so now I just have this blind trust. Whenever she makes something, I know it's going to either be good, and she never forces anything on me. She's oh, I'm making this. You want some? I'm yeah, of course. If you're making it, of course I'll try it. On my birthday, I had crabs for the first time ever. I never had that. And crabs is actually really good. It's just the fact that it's just too much work just to actually eat it. Actually get to the point where you can eat it. You have to break it off, and
there's a lot of work. You got to do homework.
Yeah,
with the crabs.
Yeah, I never knew how to really do it, and getting used to it. It was a little bit too much to get it to the way I wanted to, or get to the food that the meat that I wanted to. And sometimes I don't know if I'm actually eating the right thing or am I just eating like something that's like it's going to make me sick later on. But like no, I got through it, and like it was a really good experience eating that and trying something new.
That's cool.
So like yeah, Katie's like my pillar as far as like trying new things, and my mom just like knows what I want, and like she just makes everything I want, and like she just usually like when like she makes something new, she asks me now, and like yeah, I always try it. Like with Katie, for example, like I never knew I liked broccoli, and then like when Katie made it, and I had some of it, and I like broccoli, and then like whenever I go see my mom, um, she's like, "Oh, I'm making broccoli. I don't know if you want to try it." I'm like, "Oh, I eat broccoli. I eat that." So I'm like, yeah, that type of thing.
And your mom like opens her like 300-page notebook. She's like, broccoli. Understood. Yes. And she like glances up at you shadily, like, okay, got it. Just making sure.
She adds it on her list of like the things I eat.
Yeah,
like
the short list of things.
The very very short list.
Macaroni and cheese, burgers, broccoli. Okay, sushi.
You don't really need like a 300-page notebook. Then you just need one of those things from like.
Yeah,
Blue's Clues.
it's the other kids that fill up the other pages. It's Brian gets his one page. No, that's cool. I like that as like having someone to help you expand your palate. Yeah, I like it. I'm one of those things where like I'm willing to experiment when I've had like a not long day. Like if I'm like still out and about and getting lunch, like I'm more willing to take a shot on something. But if it's one of those things, and I've learned this about myself because Damien is always asking me like, hey, you want to go try this? You want to go try this? And it's like always at the end of the day, I'm like, I just want to like, what if I just had something that I know I'm gonna like? Because I definitely like I order things and I try different things all the time. Like probably for lunch. Lunch is my experiment meal, but like when it comes to dinner time, I just want to have something that I'm gonna enjoy. Especially if I had like a not great lunch or anything like that. Yeah, I've been cooking a lot this week. I have a kitchen that is reliably clean. I don't have to kind of go through 3 to 7 walls of dishes in order to access it now.
How's that been? Because that's been your story since I've known you.
Yeah, I know, dude. It's nice. It's I'm not like acclimated to it yet. But like my rule right now, just because it has been such a not rule for me for 7 years or so, is like the sink is always clean. Nothing in the sink ever. Don't leave if there's dirty dishes that were like not yet fully clean dishes, they can go in the dishwasher. But the sink is always clean, always empty at the very least, instead of having like a pile on it, which is just my least favorite thing to see. Because like and now it's nice because we don't have a lot of counter space here, so I got a lot of prep I will do in the sink, like if it's something dirty, so that way I can just kind of like scrub it off and then wash the sink out. So. Yeah, it's been nice. I'm not acclimated to it yet, but it is nice to be able to like multiple times this week. I've gone down like okay, hit the PlayStation button, playing games, like to pause the game so it doesn't track in game time, and then go downstairs, like take a quick 30 minutes, put on headphones, and make spaghetti or something, and just come back, eat it downstairs, come back up, and then sit down and stuff. It's weird. But it's kind of nice. I made pasta sauce this week. My aunt's pasta sauce, the famous O'Neill pasta sauce. And it's the best version of it I've ever made completely from memory, which is great. Like I for some reason deleted my one copy of the recipe that I had. I thought I would have another one, but I didn't. So I just had to go off of memory, and I was worried that I messed up proportions at some point. But it came out just perfect. I've had it like
just deleting family secret recipes, huh?
I guess maybe I know when I did it, I went through because I had it as a Google Doc, and I deleted like 9 gigs worth of Google Drive shit in like December, and I was like super depressed at the time. So like I know exactly when and why it happened, but I think I was under the impression that I was deleting a folder that I had my recipes in, and it was just going to like release those documents back out into the drive, but instead it deleted everything in them as well. I don't think I consciously knew that at the time. So yeah, that was like my multiple different recipes. It was like, I only had like 6 or 7 in there, but it was all of the recipes that I had saved. But I've already like tried a couple of new things this week. we have like a George Foreman grill, which I've never had before. So I made some burgers, which came out pretty good. I made a double as well, which always tricky to do at home. I'm working on like, I don't know if you've ever made burgers, Jared, or if that's like a frequent thing for you. But like the bottom bun, if you just leave the patty on there for longer than 2 seconds, it just turns into like this wet, sloppy mess.
So the key to that. So do you put like condiments on your burgers?
Yeah, I'm a lettuce, mayonnaise, ketchup on my burger.
So a good buffer between your bread and your burger is the mayonnaise.
Got it.
Like mayonnaise is basically what egg and oil, technically, but it also creates a pretty good, like, not completely waterproof, but water resistant barrier between meat that is leaking liquids and bread that would want to absorb said liquid. So your best bet, since the bottom bun is probably smaller than the top bun, is to put that stuff on the bottom.
Got it. I like
And
this.
like if you put like direct contact there, you're giving your bottom bun way more time to like be bread and not soup.
Yes. Not soup bottom bun is preferred bottom bun. I also getting the hang of like toasting the buns beforehand, getting that nice crisp. I think that helps protect the grease from ruining it as well. But yeah, it was fun. It was fun being able to cook again. It was fun making pasta sauce on Monday. I was waiting for the Verizon guy, expecting him to show up whenever, but instead he called me before he even left his wherever he was coming from, and I was just like keeping my door open, like ear like perch, headphones off. I was playing video games in like pure silence. So it's like this dude's gonna roll up.
Fucking weirdo.
This dude's gonna roll up, and it's gonna be one of those situations where they knock once, give it 3 seconds, and then leave. I'm not gonna let this fucker get away with that. Yeah, that was my Monday. But pasta sauce was there, so yeah, I made breakfast this week too, and it was very nice. I don't normally like breakfast, but a very, very cheesy pile of scrambled eggs is always good to me. But yeah, I was just
Eggs are good. We're an egg house.
Only eggs in this house.
Not really only, but it turns out like a fucking lot of eggs in this house.
I don't like eggs normally, so I don't really like breakfast food in general. But every now and again, I'll get a craving for it. That's why I like.
Also, use eggs in a lot of. She's the one that really likes the eggs.
What? You love eggs.
I mean, I'm also an egg fan, but I like. We also use eggs a lot in other shit.
Yeah.
Like I've been making. She's upset by the egg usage. I made ice cream this week,
I love eggs.
or attempted to make ice cream twice.
Twice?
Yeah. So I've been making a custard, and I tried to make a custard earlier this week, and I used like a bunch of eggs, and I overcooked the eggs a little bit. So now you want to heat your eggs so that you're like cooking egg yolk, because you don't want just raw egg yolk in your shit. But there's definitely like a very small window for where your eggs are now warm and ready to combine into other things and make delicious ice cream, or they just become scrambled egg. And I took it off the like heat just as it was starting to turn into scrambled egg. So I continued anyway, just because I have all this fucking egg custard. I'm not gonna just not use it.
Yeah.
Tried to take it the rest of the way, and didn't really work out. It's kind of just tasted like frozen egg custard, which not was what I was looking for.
Sounds all
though,
right,
fun fact: if you have ice cream that you have melted for some reason or another and can't refreeze it, or you have ice cream that you're not actually going to eat or finish, it becomes very good. Yeah, like an ice cream custard made of egg that's way too much egg. You can use that as a really good base for French toast, which is what I did with that.
Yes. That sounds.
The second one I made turned out more or less all right, but the first one, disaster.
We don't talk about the first one. Got it.
Yeah, there was a huge frittata last weekend. There's a lot of eggs happening in this house.
Tomato frittata. I get it. Yeah, I'm just excited about cooking, being able to cook again. I made fried wings for the first time today. I never fried anything until today. And I feel so adventurous. I felt so dangerous in the moment. Like, oh my gosh, all this grease. Well, what am I ever going to do? It was funny. I don't have a kitchen thermometer. I have many missing tools or tools that I just don't have because I've pretty much a from scratch fresh kitchen, or in a lot of ways from scratch. And I was like, okay, what do I do to know if my canola oil is ready to go ham on these chicken wings? And there's a trick. I don't know if either of you guys know it, so I'm sharing it. Who knows? You put a wooden spoon in a thin of canola oil or whatever oil, and if it bubbles up around the spoon, so it's like placid, and then you put it in and it bubbles into the spoon, it's ready to fry. I don't know if this was a known life hack.
It's like one of those wives' tales that end up being like relatively true.
Yeah, it's cool. I was like very thankful that there was I was like, I don't have a thermometer and I don't want to fuck around with this. Is there like a really weird specific kitchen trick to this? And there was. And usually there is, I've found, with cooking, and that's part of why I love it. I love learning those things specifically.
It's true, because people have been doing this for a while, even before we were writing shit down.
Yeah.
Someone knew about wooden spoons and oil before we knew about writing that shit in a book, I think.
Yeah. Before the most collective people could read. People knew probably the trick to separate egg whites by like moving the yolk back and forth between two eggshells before it could be written down. Yeah. Like that shit is so cool, and I love little tricks like that. All right, that's my cooking with Alex segment. We can talk about video games now. You boys ready? You want to get some water, get some anything real quick before we
Yeah, give me 1 second. Let me grab something.
Good. Is this your week off from video games, Nabeshin, now that you're free from the clutches of Persona, or did you actually play stuff this week?
I play stuff.
Okay. No, that's right. You said you played some Final Fantasy to me. So
Yeah, I play some stuff. I streamed a little.
Oh yeah, that's right. I don't think of the streams. I feel like Sonic Heroes has its own category. Although Wonderful 101, I totally forgot about that. I'm excited to hear about that.
Mm-hmm.
Excited to hear that controls. It's on. That's coming to everything, right? Xbox, PS4.
Not Xbox, but PS4, PC, Switch.
That's right. I remember seeing that and being like, "What? Why not?" Switch. It is coming to Switch. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
But not fucking Xbox. Block me on Twitter, but you can't put it on Xbox.
Okay.
Come on, you ready?
Yes.
What?
You blocked on Twitter?
I was just talking about Wonderful 101 not coming to Xbox One. I said you can block me on Twitter, but you can't put it on Xbox. Camilla.
Oh.
He doesn't even block me on Twitter. It's more of a general joke. How do I sound? Also, I sound all right. Am I loud enough?
Yeah, sound the same. You could.
All right, just want to make sure. Mess with some settings and stuff. All right, let's get started. It is Saturday, May 9th, 2020, and you are listening to the Irrational Passions Podcast. I am Alex O'Neill, your podcasting... I got nothing. I really got nothing. You're podcasting something. On this podcasting something that we're about to something. And joining me this week, not as always, but as sometimes, just two folks. Mr. Brian Nabeshin Jackson.
Jarrett! Get the tables!
And Mr. Jarrett Green.
Now, this is the portion where I would probably run under the ring, grab a table, or just grab both of your ankles and like split them open, and then Nabeshin would just jump off the top rope and headbutt you in the dick.
No, not again. It was funny when Scott and Tony, Scott Guthrie or Tony Horvath, not here tonight, unfortunately. Neither of them could make it. But when we were texting today, they were letting me know that neither of them could be here. Scott was like, "Oh, great, they're gonna fucking smack down something into you, figure out something with that." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I forgot that it's just these two, so they're just gonna be making wrestling references the whole time. I don't fucking understand."
Listen, if Scott wanted to stop this, he should have been here.
He had to work. He was enjoying the fact that it was just going to be me and wrestling references. But hello, everyone. Welcome to Rational Passions Podcast, your hopefully weekly supply of good vibes, video game conversations, and something. And maybe this episode wrestling references. Jarrett's here, so you're getting them.
Definitely.
But Rational Passions Podcast, video game podcast, up every Tuesday morning on your podcast service of choice. But we're live. You can watch the show live as it's recorded Saturday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, or around there. They're in 7 p.m. They're in, and I'm very excited because I got that new internet. And I apologize also for last week's podcast and the fact that I fucked it up.
That was the old internet. We're past that now.
Yeah, that was old internet. I got new internet on Monday. We're in the new internet era of Alex O'Neill's golden ages, maybe we'll say. But it's nice.
More than one age?
Yeah. I guess there was a silver age in there at some point. So hopefully new internet comes with a golden age. That's my personal plan. I got a new microphone stand, got new internet, I got a bunch of new cables for my mixer that are really, really nice. It's a good time. But let's just get into it. Let's start talking about stuff. If you don't know, rationalpassions.com, it's a website. This is posted there, as well as many other things, including, but not limited to, Raccoon City Radio. There is a new episode of that's coming out soon. It's going to be the last episode if you're unfamiliar. Raccoon City Radio, the Resident Evil podcast for rationalpassions.com, hosted by myself and Andrew Taylor. It is a great show, and we had, I think, probably my favorite of our episodes. This most recent recording, it was basically our last episode recapping the plot and the playthrough of Resident Evil 3 Remake. And we had some really cool conversations about like how the game illustrates the dichotomy between, like, let's say an Umbrella employee that has nothing to do with the pursuit of science, that's just kind of there, and Umbrella as a whole, and kind of the conflicts therein, and just kind of talking more about the broader Resident Evil themes. It was really good, and I'm excited for you all to hear it. It'll probably be up Tuesday, May 12th. So you should go subscribe to that on Apple Podcasts or whatever you listen to on. But a bunch of other stuff went up this week or in the last couple weeks. I want to highlight George Cruz has been looking forward to Streets of Rage 4 for a very long time, very on the fence about being optimistic about it. I remember the first time I saw it on his request in, I think, 2018. And ever since then, we've been kind of keeping a close eye on it. Well, George finally wrote something about Streets of Rage 4. You can read it on the website. Streets of Rage 4 proved this hater wrong. Just kind of excited about what that game gets right. So I would go check that out. You're working on some stuff, Jarrett. We got some more stuff cooking. And the thing I wanted to touch on here while we're doing some housekeeping is that we've been streaming a lot more over on the Twitch. A couple of streams this week, and now that I've kind of got my setup ready, I got that new internet, as mentioned. I'm hoping to be streaming at least once a week pretty regularly, hopefully twice a week. But started off this past Tuesday, I played some Tomba on your request, Nabeshin. It was a very good suggestion, and I took it and ran with it.
Did you beat it?
I did not beat it. I played the first like hour and a half of Tomba, maybe 2 hours of Tomba. So I'm about like...
How long is that game?
It's about 7 hours. So I'm going to play it again this week, and I'm hoping to maybe finish it on stream this week. And then maybe we'll play Tomba 2, or maybe we'll play something else. I was thinking about like other PS1 games that I really like, maybe playing Alundra. It could be fun, but that's like a long game. So I want to kind of get a couple of things figured out before then.
Don't copy off a boss, man.
Yeah. Is he playing that? That's really funny.
No, I think he's playing Legends of Dragoon, actually.
Oh, yeah, that's Legends of Dragoon. Yeah, I saw him tweet about that this week. PS1.
That's one that missed me, and I should really go back and play because everyone loves that fucking game.
It seems like a Jarrett game. Things I've heard about it. We're going to say no.
Did it say you were playing Destiny when you started it up? I'm just curious.
No, because I was streaming from a different software.
Oh, gotcha.
which confirms my suspicion, but I also don't know how that happens on that other side. I don't know why it's specifically Destiny is the thing. I know the field that it must be pulling that information from, but I don't know why it always thinks it's Destiny. I wonder if it's like some, like, that software has like some saved data between it and Twitch that just always pops that in there.
It's just somebody checked a box they should have checked by accident.
Yeah.
It's probably nothing even complicated.
Yeah, I'm probably just stupid, to be honest. But
I'm probably just a fucking idiot.
Let's be real, y'all know me, so. The cool thing is kind of getting everything set up. OBS recently got a big update for Mac, and it's much better optimized for Mac OS now. So just like getting it working with my capture card, getting the audio figured out, getting the balance and all that, like having like different scenes set up, like, and actually knowing that it'll just work when I plug everything in, was super nice. Everything worked perfectly. I think I had, for the whole 2 hours, I had no dropped frames or anything. So, and my computer wasn't running too poorly at all. But yeah, it's really exciting. I'm excited to hopefully play more Tomba. But that's it for housekeeping. Just, keep an eye on our Twitch. We're gonna be playing more stuff this week. We did a very fun Sea of Thieves stream on Thursday. That we might go back to that this Thursday. We might make that a recurring thing because we had like legitimately so much goddamn fun. But let's talk about some video games. I don't know if you guys heard this, but I've played some video games. I could tell you a thing or two about some games.
Oh yeah.
One thing, not video game related, but it's kind of housekeeping, but I want to bring up first. It was a part of my week. Nabeshin and I sat down with our friend, and presumably whoever's listening to this, your friend, because he's a wonderful, lovely human. Barrett Courtney. We talked about Persona 5 Royal. Finally, spoiled the hell out of it. Had a lot of great conversations, great cathartic moments. A lot of gushing was had.
Gross.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't necessarily a Jarrett-friendly podcast because it was extremely positive. But there were some criticisms. Fair judgments were made.
I can't show up unless there's one hater.
Yeah.
At least.
It's so true. Every time I'm like, Jarrett, you want to come over to this party? He's like, how many haters are there?
I can't be the first hater. That's a problem.
What's the vibe? Would I be the first hater? Although that was true of the of one party that we went to last year's PAX East, the open bar one that we went, and I only ended up calling somebody on the phone drunk afterwards. So
yeah, that was pretty good.
But yeah, we Nabeshin, Barrett, and I recorded a thing about Persona 5. That's gonna be out Monday.
I did not realize that was like almost 2.5 hours long.
Yeah, it was 2 hours, 36
like
minutes
at all.
Oh no, it flew by. It was delightful. And there was a point actually, like at the 1:20, 1:30 mark. I was like, "Do you guys want to take I was thinking about like saying, "Do you guys want to take a break?" But we didn't really hit a natural stopping point, so we just powered through. But yeah, that should be up Monday is my plan for that. And that's great. It'll be up on YouTube and Irrational Passions Presents. I'll probably just put it up on this feed as well because I want people to hear it. And it was great. So I played some video games this week. Outside of that, I have a lot of like thinking about playing video games because like I've kind of decided what I want to do next with the games, the video juegos. But I'm open to like leaving this path and maybe playing something more productive if I'm like in the right headspace for it. I'm just like in such a like I don't know what to play. Like I it's very difficult for me to enjoy anything right now. And maybe it's just life in all things at the moment. But it's just hard to get into any particular game at the moment. So I've decided to replay through all of the Kingdom Hearts games because when you're lost, that's what you do.
Who can find you but Sora?
Yeah, exactly. My sweet, sweet baby boy. It was a thing of like I want to play a JRPG series, right? I wanted to play something new, but I'm probably just not in a good enough headspace to do it. And I wanted to play now that I have the opportunity to like play it front to back and kind of see everything. I was curious. I've been curious about what that is. And then, we talked about it on our Persona spoiler cast a little bit of like, Nabeshin, you're playing all the Sonic games. Barrett's playing all of the like multiple different franchises. Right now, Assassin's Creed mostly. But like you played all the Batman games, it's a tendency for us weird hoarder gamers to go back and replay whole franchises. But I haven't gotten to do that with like Kingdom Hearts as a whole yet since 3 came out. So I don't know. I just wanted to do it. The good things about this. Learned a lot about myself and the things I like about Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts 1 replayed 100%ed it. This was not a half-assed replay. I did all the secret bosses, finished the journal, played on hard mode, the whole shebang, which I didn't necessarily want to do from the beginning. I kind of just wanted to play it and then move on to the next one. But as I was playing it, I don't know what it is about this most recent playthrough with Kingdom Hearts 1, and I know the last time I talked about it, I think that was like either right after 3 came out the first time, after like before Remind or like beforehand. But I like it every time. I like it more every time I replay it. And this was no exception. I really like Kingdom Hearts 1 to the point where, and this is more of a mechanical thing. I'm going to start turning into Scott Guthier in a moment, but like, for folks who don't know, he was a very big Kingdom Hearts 1 over 2 defender for a very long time until Final Mix. There's something about how it is mechanically and how and I talked about like the last time I replayed it. It's kind of like Metroidvania in some ways where you go to areas and you have reasons to go back and find items you didn't get or like Trinity things like special moves that you might have missed that you couldn't do before when you first go through those worlds. And even more so than that, there was just something with how it felt, how the guard system worked, how the technical system worked, because in that game, like basically if you guard properly or hit an enemy in certain attacks, you just get experience points for it. And that's stuff that's gone from the franchise as it keeps going. I don't know. I really came to like that game, like to the point where in a sort of way, not really, because 2 is still I think the best overall for the things I like about video games and what I would want out of that franchise. But there's an argument to be made for 1 being the best one, and I could see the groundwork for that argument and the special things about that game that kind of get lost as that franchise goes on. Like Kingdom Hearts 1 is way more RPG. It's way more fantastical, I think. It's way more kind of like fairies and magic, like before it kind of gets into like Disney and magic, which is fairies and magic, but it's just of a different flavor. There's just something about it. It's elusive. It's almost like the negative space of Kingdom Hearts 1. It's like what you can't see. Everything in between makes up something in that game that just all the other games don't have. Does any of this make sense?
Yeah, 100%. It sounds just like Mass Effect 1. Like completely like just like that.
I
like
thought about Mass Effect 1 so many times when I was playing. I was like, okay, this must be what people see in Mass Effect 1.
Yeah, it's like you could see the ambition that like kind of got lost in the sequels with the Mass Effect trilogy. And
I would say it's even more obvious when you play Andromeda versus like the main trilogy, but like especially 1. 1 had so much to tell because the universe wasn't really established yet, and I think 2 is still sort of like the universe is kind of a mystery.
Yeah.
But we're going to focus on these various like specific stories from these very specific people, and that's your perspective. Where 3 is like, all right, the world's ending, and maybe the universe, so let's tell you everything about the universe, so you have stakes, I guess. And Andromeda is like, let's just do all those things right now, even though there's nothing to learn and no one cares.
Yeah. Oh my god, dude! Like I think about Andromeda like all the time. It's like, where did they fuck up? And it's like like you're literally going to like the other side of the universe, but like you're still doing the same shit. You're like you have literally a copy and paste enemy of what the collectors are, and it's like, why would you do the exact same thing when you had like almost endless possibilities? It's like it's so weird, really.
Yeah, it really doesn't make sense. But like I think that was just like they wanted to just like all of those games, like the Gears of War 4, this, that, and obviously there's a lot more games that are successful in that regard, but they just wanted to kind of recreate the magic of that first one, I think.
I feel like that happens a lot in sequels though, like because that's what games are an iterative genre. Everything is what it already was, and maybe somebody takes a smaller step forward to like push things. And sequels is where you find that to be a more direct. Very, very rarely is a sequel completely different than the game before it. Ironically, we're talking about Mass Effect. Mass Effect 2 was an incredibly different game than Mass Effect 1. But it doesn't happen that often very much. Like, usually it's more like, Morrowind turned into Oblivion, which turns into Skyrim, where they try to take what they think works and just and try to super focus on those things, make those things better, and I don't know, try something different with all the other stuff, with all the empty space. And, for all of my problems with Skyrim, I feel a lot. Because I played a little bit of Kingdom Hearts 2 like a year ago, to try to get myself in a headspace to play Kingdom Hearts 3, which, surprise, didn't work.
Yeah.
But where Skyrim is like, what do people like to do here? They like the combat needs work, so let's focus on making this combat feel good. And in 2011, I think it did. But in its super focus to do that, it kind of took away what made Elder Scrolls games sort of, I don't know, live in a fantasy realm that other games didn't live in, is because all the other personality was kind of, not that it wasn't there, but it didn't feel as A, well researched, and B, as well implemented as, the various islands of Morrowind and Varfendel, where all these cultures live on top of each other, and like how everyone feels like a person surviving. Not everybody feels like a good guy, but you don't really think they're bad. They're just kind of living in their scenarios. And Skyrim is a version of that, but it just doesn't feel the same way. And it's kind of like you watch the same team make the same game a couple times. You kind of see them, you kind of watch them leave focus from other places and start putting it other places. And Kingdom Hearts reminds me of that too. Like, this game was an action RPG before people were doing it in that way.
Yeah, before people,
like, it was kind of the first. Yeah. And then they've kind of iterated on it so many times, but with such a focus on everything else except the action RPG part, that once you get to the end, it's like, these games aren't even familiar. Like, now you can summon like theme park rides.
Yeah,
that was not. I don't think anyone who made Kingdom Hearts 1 thought that was ever going to happen.
Yeah, and like it's made me think about. I'm very excited to get to 3 and replay through 3, because I'll be honest, like playing through 1 and 2. I've gotten 2, but I won't really be talking about 2 today. It's just like those core games have like a secret sauce that I don't know. I don't know why it's missing from. I mean, I probably do know why. It's just like the worlds and all the other games are, smaller and designed around handhelds and are less interesting. But there's just like a scope to the worlds in 1, 2, and 3, especially 3. Like, I think playing through it again now, 3 has probably my favorite Disney worlds of all of the games, which I think I had said during our ranking podcast option. And I'm still kind of surprised by that, because I really wasn't expecting that. But also, like, I feel like I don't love the ones that everybody, like, I don't love the Timeless River. I don't love like OG Hollow Bastion. I don't know if anybody loves OG Hollow Bastion, but like Traverse Town and Twilight Town are cool, but not necessarily my favorites. But I just love Corona so much. I love not the virus, the Kingdom of Corona in Kingdom Hearts 3. I should very much. My brain slipped for a moment there. But the Tangled World, the Frozen World, obviously, just very big and just beautiful. Like, moreover than any other game, it felt like I was living in a Disney movie when going through those worlds. But yeah, I don't know, just Kingdom Hearts 1, like doing the secret bosses and seeing the secret bosses for what they are, especially like the secret boss they add with Remind to Kingdom Hearts 3, playing those earlier this year, loved them. Not the Zora fight, 10 out of 10, probably the best boss fight in Kingdom Hearts, IMHO in my opinion. But like the organization fights, not quite as good as the ones in 2, I think, just overall. But still very good. Like not complaining. But it's just the weirdness of the extra bosses in Kingdom Hearts 1 is what the weapon fights felt like in OG, or like in my era, PS1 era Final Fantasy. Of like Kurt Zisa is like this cool Arabian Nights like kind of vibe that has its own mechanic where he seals out either magic or items and stuff like that. The Phantom is like this whole flying fight that you can only pretty much use magic through, and you have to like stock everyone up with ethers, and like you have to use the stop spell on the clock that's kind of like ticking down time. The Xemnas fight, which is like the only one, save for I guess Sephiroth, which is like this very difficult, aggressive boss fight that has its own unique vibes, and obviously like those abilities get reintroduced and referenced like so many times in like the future games. So it's cool to see how they're implemented into one, like essentially the first time ever. But like, in that fight, Xemnas does a move that the Lingering Will does in Kingdom Hearts 2. So it's like, again, just tying all the threads together in a way that maybe they didn't realize yet, but they then went to like reintroduce those things in a way that ties them all together just perfectly. So yeah, like I just there's a goofiness and a abstractness to how all of the post game stuff in Kingdom Hearts 1 is, but also and I might have like forgone mentioning it last time I talked about this game, but I love that every world in that game has like a unique heartless that randomly spawns that you have to grind certain synthesis materials out of. And most of those heartless are not necessarily like super dangerous fights, but they're just like intricate mechanics driven fights. Like one, you have to like reflect projectiles back at it. Another, you have to like find the real one in a group of 5. One you have to use healing items on, like so many like really, really cool little things that they just went out of their way to do all over that game that felt like that kind of obscure Final Fantasy hidden shit that like Final Fantasy 7 and Final Fantasy 8 have. Specifically like Final Fantasy 7, 8, and I assume 9 is similar, but like I don't know how the hidden shit works in 5, 6, and 4, but those PS1 games, it really had those kind of that vibe. So yeah, Kingdom Hearts 1 is just, it's cool. It's a rad game, and it was cool being able to just appreciate new things about it. So a thing I've stumbled into, but now I'm really invested in. I found something new that I've never seen before in all the games so far. Which hasn't been hard in regards to something like Rechain of Memories or whatever, but like I played Kingdom Hearts 2 a lot, and there were things that I discovered that you can early on like go into an alley and fight Cypher like over and over again. Like I didn't know you could do that in that game. At a very specific point in the story, you can like go into a back alley and fight Cypher and grind against him, which is really funny, and I did it over and over again. He's like, I didn't know you could fight this guy here, and it's really cool. And there's also like another part in Kingdom Hearts 2 where you can go like grind money that I didn't know you would have time to do. And then once I got to Sora in Kingdom Hearts 2, I had like 2,000 money, which is way more than what you normally have. And I was like, this is great and powerful and terrible. But in Kingdom Hearts 1, I just found like in the hallway in Traverse Town, in like indoor hallway in like the hotel, there's 2 posters, one on the very front wall and one on the very back wall, and one's like daylight and one's like nighttime, and you can examine both. And if you examine both in the same instance, the I guess like ticket counter, like the sales counter person, they like the curtain pushes back and like it doesn't show anyone, but it like somebody presumably leans out and says posters are cool, and then it cuts away, and it's like, what is this? What is this weird dialogue that I did not know was in this game?
Didn't know there was like a stranger danger section of
Kingdom Hearts 1.
2.
Yeah.
Or Kingdom Hearts 1, yeah.
But just a weird little thing that I found I'd never seen before. So yeah, I played Kingdom Hearts 1, loved it. Didn't actually I did all the boss fights, but I didn't end up grinding to the max level because I was like, let's have these like end game fights be a little bit easier, because if you're 99 or like level 100 at the end of those fights, they're very, very easy. So have them be a little tougher, I should say. But played that, finished that, played through Kingdom Hearts Rechain of Memories. This was the moment where I was like, make or break. This is, if I'm committed or not, it will be determined here and now. And I got through it. I just slapped it down to easy mode. Just tried to power through. This was the one where I was like, how I was originally going to play Kingdom Hearts 1. I was like, okay, I just kind of want to get through it, and then I'll get to the good shit. But I was like, no, I just want to get through Chain of Memories. I still had a terrible time, and I'm so frustrated at how like this game is mechanically. I will say, and it's probably like the problems I have with the combat are probably resolved with the GBA version, or they might be at least lessened by it. But playing through Rechain of Memories again, I really like all of the work they did to make that game 3D, to make it somewhat functional in 3D, even though I don't think it's the cards work fully in 3D. But I just like the little areas and jumping and exploring, and how like you get the glide and the high jump and all this stuff, like, which again might be in the original, but just the way they essentially had to, like we've been talking a lot about remakes lately, with a couple obviously in the forefront, but like this is a remake, a very full remake with a lot of work put into it. And I feel like it's just forgotten about in the remake realm. Because it was so close to the original. It was like 2003 was Chain of Memories, and then this was 2008 in Japan, and then it didn't come to the US until 2011, I think.
Something like that. Yeah,
2011, 2012 was 1.5 remix. So like, and they did the VO then, like, another.
I mean, it came to PS2.
You're right. It did get localized on PS2,
but it was like 2010,
2010. Yeah, it was deep into that PS3 life cycle.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. It is a full remake. It is really cool. This was also like, knowing in context, like this was just like a pack-in, a freebie with Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix. Is really cool. But yeah, I think they did a great job making this game work as well as it could in 3D, and I'm thankful for this version, because for me, like, going back to this and having all the voice acting and have the cutscenes be as emotional as they are is way preferred, even if I'm still extremely frustrated by how some of those fights go, especially when you play as Riku, because you can't change his deck at all, and it's like half the time I'm just like, this is basically luck, so I'm just going to throw myself into this fight over and over again, and hopefully it works itself out. But I feel like I tried to learn the mechanics a little bit better this time around. I didn't use like a deck building guide or anything this time around. I decided to
all you just need is zeros at the end of your deck, so you can just easily get to it. That's the thing.
Yeah,
right?
and I had that at some point. It's just like when you are in those positions where you can't break anything, or like you've run out of a certain amount of card, or like certain things become inaccessible to you, and then you're like stun locked, and then you just die. Happens all the time, and it's so frustrating. There's no guard. It's just, I think if that game had some level of guard, it gives you the dodge roll, but it doesn't give you the guard, and it's super weird. But I appreciate the dodge roll. But yeah, I don't know. I had a frustrating time with Chain of Memories, but not frustrating enough to like ruin it. Very sad, super sad game. Wish it was not so sad, especially, boy, it just does not get any less sad once you know how all this ends. But it is sweet. It is nice. It is just such a nice little story. It's so weird in like the pantheon of Kingdom Hearts stories, because playing through the franchise again, I'm like trying to put myself in the head of someone kind of coming through in a order of operations, like what's going on, of like, imagine like being there in 2003 being like, they're just gonna try and slip in this girl into Sora's backstory and just pretend like we don't know. Like this, that they were just like adding this in, and then like that becoming essentially the meta twist of like, no, this was all bullshit, and then it's like, all right, but now he's not gonna remember any of this. So like, what's real and what matters? It's just like the layered context of Chain of Memories is very weird, especially because I don't know if Sora ever remembers what happens in Castle Oblivion. He might. I feel like they might imply at some point he does, but it's just weird that everything that happens.
I don't think fully.
Yeah, not fully. He remembers Nominate enough. But not fully.
But more still, she still has a reference to him. He doesn't really remember her.
Yeah, it's the other characters that really remember her. It's interesting. Like it makes me look at Riku and Namine's relationship differently. It was nice. No, again, I wouldn't have anticipated Replica Riku being a relevant part of the Kingdom Hearts 3 story, but again, I wouldn't have anticipated a lot of how that goes down. So seeing that character like in their whole story and kind of how everything happens, I appreciated. I was like always a little salty that so many organization members die in Castle Oblivion before 2, and luckily they come back in 3. So, and I appreciate that they get their mainline game to be in, but this time around, each of them does get like a very dramatic scene when they die or when they disappear. And I had forgotten that at least some amount of attention was paid to each of those characters. Like when Lexius dies, like Ansem takes over Riku's body and kills him. Like it's like, oh, that's like a really dramatic moment, but I had forgotten about that. And that's like Riku kind of struggling with that still. Like when Zexion dies, it's the Riku replica like takes his power or something. It's not just like he died fighting Riku and then they moved on. It was like a moment happened, which I thought that stuff was cool. I'm trying to think any other Chain of Memories cool game. Playing Chain of Memories does just make it like, why couldn't have this when you did this remake, just make it an action game, because it would have worked better for this, like this thing. But cards and memories and cards or whatever. So I guess I had to stick with that. I played Tomba. We talked about Tomba's a great video game. If anyone's curious, pink-haired boy, Metroidvania, PlayStation 1, worth a shot. Give it a look. Also played Sea of Thieves this week. This was my first time going back to Sea of Thieves since playing with Tony randomly one night, where we played for like 6 hours straight. Had a ton of fun. And to be fair, like Tony was very much my Sherpa, like, hey, like I have access to these high-level quests, but it's not like there's not like a difficulty rating necessarily. It's just like you need to have people to go with you. So let's go on a big long quest, and it was very fun. This time around, this is post adding. They're called Tall Tales, which are like story missions, which I did not really know were in there. But there's like a guy who like goes and gives you a journal and gives you a quest to like go off of. What I liked about these, and that we played this after you left, Jarrett, unfortunately. I guess Nada was in the chat trying to get us on the right page, but that was before I showed up, so I don't know what was going on. You guys were hunting chickens, I guess?
We were doing fucking anything, and we didn't know how to do anything, so he was trying to like point us in the right direction, because we had found, I guess, a bounty or something.
Yeah.
And it put like a piece of paper in my inventory that told us who to kill and I guess where to go to find it. But once we killed one of them, we didn't know like where to find the others. Like, was there a marker? Was there some sort of thing? We're checking our map to figure it out, and there was nothing. That's not how that game operates, and we had no idea.
Yeah.
So we're like trying to flip through everything that could be read to see like where is there a journal entry to tell us what about this quest, but we were all mistaken.
Yeah, we once we found it in like there's like a tavern. There's a guy that you talk to in there. It's cool because so this first tall tale we're looking for something called the Shroud Breaker. I guess we they all lead into each other, so we need the Shroud Breaker to get to like this island or this place that is covered in fog, and the Shroud Breaker will like break this magic fog and let you through. Which again, just face value, like the most interesting shit you've probably heard of in Sea of Thieves, at least being told to you directly. So it was cool because we get this journal of this person that had found it, and he's like, "Yeah, we found it. You need this totem that we found in like this mysterious chest, but we got attacked by pirates and we had to throw the chest off the boat." So you're like going through his journal, kind of like looking for hints on where they're shipwrecked, because in their sunken ship, you could find the ship log, and the log was like coordinates of when they had tossed the chest off the ship. So then from the log, you can find the chest near one of the islands, and then in the chest is like this totem that you need to find the Shroud Breaker. So we took the totem to, and again, this is all I liked the most was like a lot of this was like riddles or kind of more subtle clues. So like it's Scott, Mike, and I sitting in the deck, like, or like the captain's quarters or the map room in the ship, and like I have the journal up and I'm holding it out, and they're like looking at it, and Mike's looking at a map and Scott's looking at the big map trying to mark where we're at, and we're all like kind of talking through it. It's just like that was the most like RPing a pirate like I had felt in that game of like, it wasn't even like RPing a pirate, I was like RPing Nathan Drake. And like, he talked about this small island, and it must have been, it could be this one, or this one, and like going off the position. It was very fun adventure explorer type stuff. And I love looking at maps. Anybody who knows me, well, now you know another thing about me. I love maps, and I love maps in video games, and I love looking over maps with your friends.
Can't get enough of that. That map shit.
Just can't get enough. It's exactly my kink. Or not, who knows? But after that, we found this island where we put the totem, opens up this dramatic vault, like full Indiana Jones, and then we had to like solve a puzzle under time pressure. The room sealed, and it was like filling with water, and then we got the Shroud Breaker. I think we had to go find some things on the island after that, but. Then he, of course, you take that back to the guy. He's like, "Oh, there's gems missing from the bottom of it. You got to go find those now, or else it won't work." So I assume we'll get those through similar quests, and then be able to take the Shroud Breaker through this fog, and find whatever's inside of it. So I loved just how that was paced out, and how we had to go about it, and how much collaboration and conversation like took place in it. Very much like hearkening to Destiny, things like that, like collaborative co-storytelling, the things I like about like tabletop games. So I'm sorry you missed that part, Jarrett, but I'm sure we'll do another one, and like I said, we're gonna try and play those more often together. So I think they're actually streaming on Twitch Sea of Thieves right now, so I get it. It was the most fun I'd had with the game, and it was the first time where like when I had played with Tony, we played for a very long session. I got like my fill. I was like, that was a ton of fun, but I'm good for a while. This is the first time coming off of it. I was like, I can't wait to play again, because I want to see kind of like what the next narrative beat was, and what the next kind of thin trap or puzzle that we'd have to solve would be. So I think I definitely played other stuff, but I'm still like seeing if I want to keep going. I'm probably gonna keep going with Kingdom Hearts at least for a little while longer. I might skip I might skip Dream Drop Distance. Who knows? When we get there, we'll find out. But see how that goes, and then maybe I'll be able to find something else to play. Nabeshin, man, what you been playing?
I've been like all over the place. Um, like I'm still doing the Sonic Lore Tour thing. I've been streaming. Um, so like got through Sonic Adventure 2, and now I'm in on Sonic Heroes right now, playing that.
Don't you fight like a big, like the crab from the first boss from Metroid Prime, like first Metroid Prime, like the big thing, in the Smash Brothers stage, like the thing that's like caught in the cylinder in the background. I forget what it was like.
Okay.
Queen Parasite or whatever. It's the first boss of Metroid Prime 1. Isn't that the final boss of the final campaign in Sonic Adventure 2 Battle? Isn't it like just basically that?
The final boss?
I'm trying to remember. It's like something you fight.
No, it's like a giant brontosaurus.
Yeah, it's like you fight in outer space, right? It's like Super Sonic and Super Shadow.
Yeah. He fuses with a satellite or
satellite.
The space colony Ark
Mhm.
that's hurtling down to Earth, and you find this.
It's like a big flesh monster, though, right? Like it's fleshy. I'm vague.
No, it literally looks like a big dinosaur just attached to a satellite.
Got it.
That's all it looks like.
What a weird game.
Yeah,
that's how that game ended,
Yeah, it's funny because like God, like I can't remember the last time I like went through it entirely like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I know I've replayed it multiple times, and like even when it was on Xbox Live, like I played it, but I never beat it. I rebeat it, rebeat it in the way I should rebeat it, I should say.
Complete.
Like yeah, because like I played through the Sonic stuff and I love it. I played through the Tail stuff. I'm like, okay, this is tolerable. I played through the Knuckles stuff, and then it's like, I really don't want to do this.
God, yeah, totally.
And then like right before it gets to the end, that's where I usually stop. Same with Adventure 1 even. So like, but like Adventure 1 is like that's still like super fresh in my mind. That's probably because that's probably why I like Adventure 1 more than like Adventure 2. Like I finally think I came around to that. Because Adventure 2. There's just a lot of stuff that's just like it's really just like 1/3 of this game I really like, and like that's like the Sonic and Shadow stuff. And like I said, like the Eggman and Tails section is just like it's fine. Like it's not as good as like the Gamma shit from Sonic Adventure 1. So like or at least I don't think it is. Because like their levels are just so long, they're so long and so expansive that like it really just like impedes my fun of it after a while.
So slow, Like honestly, if you just moved a little fucking faster than those dumb robots, man.
Yeah. And then just like the Shadow and not Shadow, but like the Knuckles and Rouge stuff is just like it's okay at first, but then it just kind of gets intolerable, like with just certain ways that the levels are.
Yeah, if you get lost in any of them, it's just the worst time.
Yeah, like Rouge's final one is like all her like hints are reversed, so like either the words, so the hint screen are like all the words are in reverse. So like you have to like kind of like figure that out, or to say the opposite of what they say. Oh, it's not up here. It's not at the highest place when it actually is at the highest place, type of thing.
I forgot that. I did that shit.
And yeah, Knuckles is just like his one is like so expansive, and like meteors just fall randomly and just hit you randomly. It's just stuff like that. Just like it just wore out as welcome after a while. But like the Shadow and Sonic stuff, like I knew I loved it, but like man, I really like them. Like, that stuff is just like this. Is like it's still kind of janky. But it's like a jank I know when I was younger I got like super used to, and like it just felt so good playing those games and like playing as them, and like it's still super fun. And it's like like I make a little mistake, I miss a jump or something like that, and then I just have to restart the entire level. Me personally, not the game doing that. It's just like, no, I fucked up. No, I'm better than this, and like I just restart the entire level, just like I do it perfectly in my dumb way. I just like doing it, and I enjoy those levels a lot. They're super fun. Yeah, like Sonic and Shadow are the best parts of that game, and it's like it's so much fun just playing as them. It's still crazy to me, like as the many times that they re-released that game, like they still never fucking fixed that audio with like with them just talking over each other.
Yep.
And it's like that just drew me insane. Like even back in 2001 when it came out, and it still drives me insane to this day. So like it's just like this, it drives me crazy. But yeah, funny, the last story of that game. Like first of all, like this game, when you beat like a side of the story, like they had these little mini trailers for like the other side of the story, like, oh, what happens when Eggman actually like takes over the world and stuff like that. They had these mini like movie trailers, and like the one for the last arc for the secret last story of Sonic Adventure 2. Like it's so Kingdom Hearts before it's Kingdom Hearts. Like, cause like this came out before Kingdom Hearts, but it's so Kingdom Hearts. It's so funny just looking at it. I encourage you to look at that video later on, like after this. But like it's so funny just looking at that video. How it teases the last arc of that game. And like me playing that part, because I haven't done that in years. Like I haven't like actually looked at it and like seen it in years, and like it's so heavy-handed how they do it, the shadow and everything like that, and like how he dies at the end of that game. Spoilers, I guess. But like he comes back in Heroes, it's fine.
Yeah.
He might be a robot, whatever.
Yeah,
we don't know.
No one actually cares. Not even Shadow cares the least of any of us. What a drag.
But like man, that game is a hoot. It's a trip. And I still love it to death, but it is like it's funny. It's just a really funny game playing that game again.
It's funny
Sonic
like,
here
thinking about it's funny to think about like the subtitle to that game is just the word battle. Also, I did just like in the grand context of like Sonic Adventure 2 Battle does not make any sense as a title.
It does. It just expanded on the multiplayer stuff, which I didn't play. So like there's a lot more 2-player stuff, and like
I remember playing that stuff too.
Yeah, I played it with my best friend Tony. It was we still play that game, but we were in quarantine. Like it'll be one of those dumb things because yeah, we loved playing that. We played the Dreamcast version all the time together. But yeah, we love doing that stuff.
Now the criminal thing for me, Nabeshin, is I loved Sonic Heroes as a child, as a youth. And to be fair, I was young and I did not know better. But I was coming off of I loved Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. It was the first Sonic game that I actually liked. Super excited about it, not just for the Chow stuff. Like, I've talked about like the actual level parts of it that I liked. Going into Sonic Heroes, had a great time with it. Started to tipper out with it's like I don't know, is Big the Cat part of one of the trios? Yeah,
so it's Team Sonic, Team Dark. Well, Team Sonic is normal, Team Dark is hard, Team Rose is supposed to be easy, and Team Chaotic, I don't know what that level is. Like I don't know what difficulty it's supposed to be, but like it's supposed to be something.
Team Chaotic's one with the alligator, right?
Yes, Victor the alligator.
Yeah, so
Charmy to be an SBO the chameleon.
I got like halfway through that, save file got corrupted, and I was like building to the final campaign. I don't know what that is in that game still to this day. I need you to tell me. No, this moment has finally come where I can know.
I'll tell you next time we record because like I haven't gotten to that point yet. I have to get all the Chaos Emeralds before I can do that and beat all their campaigns.
I remember seeing like a teaser like similarly to Adventure 2 like of like the final thing, and it was like Metal Sonic related. Is that right? I think that's
right. He's the big bad in Sonic Heroes.
And fun fact about me, I think we've talked about this once. While I don't love the Sonic the Hedgehog video games, there is a Sonic the Hedgehog Metal Sonic movie that I adore with every fiber of my being. And I watched it like 30 times as a kid. And
it's really good.
To be fair, I watched a lot of like animated movies like over and over again, like Hercules, Mulan, the first 2 Pokemon movies over and over and over again. So this was not abnormal for me. But it was in that same rotation of like I love that Metal Sonic movie. I had it on DVD. I was like super attached to it as well. It was something about the end when Metal Sonic dies. Spoilers. And Sonic's like still sad about it, even though they were enemies. I was like, it really got me. It fucked me up. I don't know why.
Because it's a whole lot of anime shit.
It's a whole lot of anime shit, and I was like feeling it, and I still feel it to this day. So I got super excited when I saw that Metal Sonic was going to be involved in Sonic Heroes, and then my save file got corrupted. So I'll never know.
I mean, you don't know. Like it's a different, not necessarily a different thing, but like yeah, I know what movie you're talking about. Like the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. It's still really good. I recommend it. It's really.
I think it's just a fun animated movie.
Yeah, it's really fun.
And I liked the OG Sonic cartoon. Like I thought it was.
You gotta identify which one you're talking about.
True. The one with like the sloth character.
The sloth character?
Yeah, the guy
the
guy that talked really, really slow?
I mean, that would be the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, which is like pure cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
There's an episode with a sloth in it.
Yeah, I don't know why that's the one that's coming to my mind at least at this moment. But
so you chose the wrong one, but
that cartoon. I think I watched both, but I really liked. I watched that multiple Sonic cartoons and multiple Mario cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked all of them, so I'd be the wrong person to tell you which I liked. I was very young at the time, but I was very attached to those cartoons.
Yeah, Adventure of Sonic the Hedgehog isn't bad. Like it's just a fun, pure cartoon. Like a Dr. Robotnik's it's a pure goon in that, and it's really funny.
I couldn't get into the DX anime shit though.
Oh no, Sonic X, no, don't worry about that.
What's the other one
called? It's called Sonic the Hedgehog, but it's like people call it. The nickname is Sonic Sat AM. That one has Princess Sally. That has like Dr. Robotnik with Jim Cummings, where he's like has this really like orgasmically evil voice.
Yes, I also really liked this one. I do remember.
Yeah, that one. Now. Yeah, like they're called freedom fighters. They're like they're literally saving the world every day. There's very equal friendly while stuffing it down your throat.
Tails looked all weird and different. Yeah.
Tails looked the same.
Yeah, he just looked different for me. I was so attached to like how he looked, how bright he was in the games.
Gotcha.
Yes, I remember that. I guess when I was younger, I didn't really distinguish between the two for me.
Man, what is this podcast? What are we doing to Jarrett, man? We're talking about Kingdom Hearts. We're talking about Sonic the Hedgehog for like...
Not even Sonic Heroes, the video game, or Sonic Adventure 2, or Battle, which is like the weird offshoot of like Sonic Adventure 2. I stopped right there. I had no idea that they went back to this and they're like, that co-op shit, we should do more of that co-op shit. Now we're talking about the two different Sonic cartoons.
I've never talked about this with Nabeshin for some reason, and I'm taking the opportunity. Okay.
I didn't know there were two different Sonic cartoons.
There's three different.
Yeah, there's more.
3 Sonic cartoons. I had no idea.
There's Sonic the Hedgehog. There's Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. There's Sonic Underground. That one I've never watched, but like his brother and sister, they play guitars, whatever.
I didn't fuck with that one.
And
there's
Sonic
X
too, so.
And then you got Sonic Boom.
There's Super Red.
I'm sure there's like 12 other ones that are modern.
Well, Sonic Boom, wasn't that like a tie-in to the game?
Yeah.
People
like
or maybe not like a direct tie-in, but like we made a game and we had these art assets. We should make a cartoon.
Pretty much. But then the game was bad and the cartoon was apparently good. People like the Sonic Boom cartoon. I've never watched it, but
same.
But yeah, I don't know. It's been a while since we talked about cartoons, like old school cartoons. But yeah,
I am just like so baffled by how much like alternative media that exists for Sonic the Hedgehog.
It's true. I guess like for me, it's hard to imagine like why that would ever happen, but like there was an era where Sonic was like the mascot for a very big company that was selling hardware and stuff. So.
Which is true, but I feel like he was like in the 90s we had already accepted that Mario was like the ambassador of video games.
You know who did? You know who didn't accept that? Sonic the motherfucking Hedgehog.
Right, but it feels like they were making Sonic shit just out of protest.
Yeah.
Like, did that many people love Sonic? I guess, but it feels more like Sega was like, we have money and people keep wanting to get this license. We're gonna give it to them. Do whatever the fuck you want, as long as Sonic's out there running around eating chili dogs or some shit. Let the Nintendo motherfuckers know.
Yeah.
Put the gang sign up, the Sonic gang sign, whatever that is, and
let them and just get it out there. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I don't know. Sonic is.
I just wish I was in a room when people were like, "Yes, put Sonic on it." Just say yes. Whenever anybody asks, say yes.
It's true. I really wish not to intervene because here we are, but I just want to know like what the crazy look in their eyes was in that moment. Yeah, Sonic Heroes back on track. Nabeshin.
Yeah, Sonic Heroes. I'm really not enjoying it. It's one of those things where it's like when I play this game now, and I played like maybe like probably up to like 4 or 5 hours of it now. And just on the Sonic side too, I got to play this like 3 other times, doing the same levels, almost doing the same exact thing with these other characters, which is like. like it's kind of breaking me. Like, oh my god, I really gotta do this.
You haven't got
it's like
6 yet, man.
Oh, I know. Like,
Jarrett,
Sonic Heroes is breaking me.
You can't play Hero. You can't play 06. You just got it. You can't do it.
I know. I'm gonna get to it though. I'm still gonna do it. Because like. I'm feeling like, oh my god, like if Sonic Heroes is doing this to me, like Shadow the Hedgehog is gonna be murder to me, and then I have to play Sonic 06 after that. Then it's like, oh man, so it's gonna be a tidal wave.
And Secret Rings, dude.
Oh no, Secret Ring is not on my list.
No, I know it's not on anyone's list.
It's not on my name.
That is not mine. Understood.
But yeah, but it's definitely like Sonic Heroes is a game made specifically for kids that has more time than anything else. Like they just have time, and like I'm realizing that the more I play, because like these levels, like each stage of these levels are like almost over 8 minutes long, which is too long for a Sonic game. A level shouldn't last that long, but these levels are expansive. The characters never shut up. And it's bright and colorful, and like it controls fine, but like it doesn't control good enough. Like you're slipping off and you're falling off the edge almost constantly. They give you like 1 million lives in the game, but like if you're actually trying to do something specific, you'll run through those lives apparently, because I'm just not finding out. I had like 30 lives at the beginning of my stream today, and now I went down to 6. So like, oh wow, that's crazy. But like, it's definitely a game made for kids who had more time than anything. Because like, I 100%ed this game when I was younger, not thinking about it really and like enjoying it because like I guess that's all I had at the time. But now that like I'm a person who's like doing this just to like just check it out, it's like it's like when I beat this game, I will 100% guarantee you I will never play it again. Never play it again. Because it's like it's
breaking you.
It really is. Like I won't say it's bad, but it's definitely not good. I'm not far as saying it's a bad video game, but like it's just not good. It's not good in almost any way. Like I hate the way the character models look. I hate the way they have sideways mouths. Like they have like a full mouth, but it's on the side of their face, but it's not like animated like it's supposed to be. Like it's just a weird look for them.
I know exactly what you're talking about too.
It bothers the fuck out of me.
It's like a whole mouth just down here, as opposed to just side of one. It's a whole ass mouth.
No, he still has a side mouth, but like it works that way because they animated the right way. But like this one is just like literally just a whole mouth on the side of his face.
Like a whole chili dog coming in from like a 75-degree angle.
It's all the characters too, except A-Man who looks like a damn Popeye character. It's so weird.
Oh, Sonic Heroes,
but yeah, I will say like I'm happy that I re-experienced this game again. Like I really am, I truly am. And I'm happy to get through it. When I eventually get through it, I have this weird arbitrary rule of me streaming these Sonic games. I had to get to the point where like Super Sonic or the equivalent of that has to appear and beat the end boss before I be done with the game. So like that means I have to get all the emeralds. I have to beat the campaign with all the characters. So it's going to be like a long time before I see the ending of this and get to the next game, which is Shadow of the Hedgehog, which is pretty much going to be like pretty much the same thing of what I'm experiencing now. I'm realizing
Top tier video game right there.
What, Shadow of the Hedgehog?
Yeah.
Oh.
Jared not even.
So what?
so.
Shut up.
You didn't even existed. But yeah, I'm done talking about Sonic Heroes. Like, it's something I'm going to be playing for a while, and I'm just
And you're not excited
making my
about
way
that.
through it. Yeah.
Totally. What else have you been playing outside of the Sonic verse? You finished Persona
Sonic verse.
5, which is great and all that. You got the platinum, blah blah. I don't know if there's anything you wanted to tell just our general audience. We obviously have the conversation with Barrett going to go up Monday, but anything you want to tell the IPP listeners?
No, like just take everything I said in 2017 and like just intensify them. And that's pretty much how I feel about Persona 5 Royal. I love it dearly. It made what I felt like was a perfect game already even better.
Yeah.
That's basically my gist of what I feel about the game. I did go back to it a little bit. I did the one of the secret bosses that you told me about.
Oh yeah.
During the spoiler cast. So like did that, beat him. Not that much problem because I was level 99 at the time.
Yeah.
But like it was still fun just to see how that was and like how it would have been probably a struggle if like I wasn't like so prepared for it.
Mm-hmm.
But like yeah, it was still fun just to like experience it and to see
Good. I'm
how
glad you went and saw that.
character played.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is a cool fight, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's definitely one that's not like they have a new like challenge threshold fight in that game that's cool, but that's not it. But it was cool to have just a new tough enemy to fight.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Yeah, Persona 5 Royal, exceptional video game, I would say. Still have lots of thoughts. I got a lot of the thoughts. There's a kind of I like a lot of questions I asked you and Barrett. There's one that I wrote a thing, and it was like part of some of the ideas I've had about that game, of just how the kind of theme is refocused and shifted into something I think more powerful with Royal and through where it goes. So, it's nice to be able to just have the burden of not being able to talk about that game off my shoulders. And Tony's still playing, still giving us updates. He I guess he took a few days off. He told us this week, but he's back in it. And I'm still very much enjoying hearing what Tony thinks of it and hearing him go through it. So, anything else you got?
I'm trying to think.
You'd mentioned that you played a little Final Fantasy VII. I don't know how much you want to talk about that.
I met him a new character on a motorcycle. Did that fight with him?
Oh yeah, Roach,
yes. That was like that's like he's interesting. That's all I can really say about him right now. He kind of like he's that's just a weird like tonal shift when he just shows up.
It's weirdly tonal. Yeah, I agree. That was a part where I was like, I don't hate this, right? I
don't necessarily hate it, but like it
was whatever.
weird.
Yeah, it was a little lame. I liked being able to fight on the motorcycle just because I liked that from the original Final Fantasy VII. I forgot, Jerry, you played this as well. I'm so used to being the only person on the show that had played the game. So, yeah, the tonal stuff with that specifically option very much bothered me a lot.
Really, from that till the end of that chapter.
Yes.
Like,
I thought
because Roche is following you somewhere. You get to that place after fighting him.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go. I forget. Like, I think that's the Jesse stuff, right?
That's
yes.
Jesse's side.
Yeah.
Jesse parents.
And then after that, you were like busted into a place, and there's a bunch of tonal shifts in that whole sort of thing too.
Mm-hmm.
And that game feels like one of those like adventures that's like there's probably serious stuff happening, but look at all these charismatic characters. Like, can anybody do anything else but smile when you see Cloud's face? Can't you just want to pinch his cheeks? Which is something they don't do in the original.
Yeah.
Really at all. They don't like waste time trying to endear Cloud to you. Or really any of his friends or any of the people he meets. Of course, you spend 3 hours in Midgar before they drop the plate, and then 2 more hours and you leave in the original game. So
Right.
so I guess there's no time to worry about the tone. Like the tone of the first quarter of that game is like Midgar sucks and everything sucks.
Yeah.
So it's interesting for them to like attempt to lighten up the idea that everything sucks. Like the people in here are cool, but it's the same story. You know what happens. It's so how do you balance tone? And it's funny that sometimes their answer is introduce someone like Roche.
Yeah. I think they generally do a good job of it too. It is just like that chapter has, I think, the most like mile a minute tone changes of a lot of the early stuff. And my only thing, like when you play through that part, I was like, I didn't love it. I didn't love the Roche stuff. I thought the Jesse stuff was pretty good.
Yeah.
But I was like so worried that I was just being hypercritical because it was like the first big chunk of new stuff. So
Though I think that's a fair criticism of that game. Like the things that are brand new, like completely new, aren't necessarily the best stuff in that game. Like the best stuff in that game are the things that were reimagined from the old game.
Yeah.
I can't think of something that was like super new that I think stands up to like the sort of recontextualizing of the old shit.
Yeah, like the somewhat ghost part where like I thought that was like a dream at first, but then it's like, oh no, we're actually playing this, and then it's like, oh okay, then everyone sees this, okay, so it was just like one of those things, like okay,
oh yeah, yes, we're all outside the bar, right?
Right.
Yeah, I don't want to say too much just because I know you're still pretty early, Nabeshin, and I don't want to affect your opinion one way or the other. I already feel bad for what I've said in your presence.
No, you're fine. No, you didn't. You literally said nothing that I haven't been feeling or whatever.
Okay.
Right now, like I'm still loving the game to death. Like, and I'm getting super attached to like Wedge and Jesse and Biggs. I'm just hoping that like when this stuff happens with them later, that it's very good and very respectable to those characters that they built up so good. So that I literally know nothing about that as far as like not even internet stuff. Like I'm been completely dark as far as that. So like I'm hoping that's a good payoff for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope it makes me feel things. That's all.
Yeah.
I just want to feel again, Final Fantasy.
Yeah, Final Fantasy just gave me some feelings. Cool. Anything else you've been playing, Nabeshin?
I played Streets of Rage 4. I didn't play too much of it to really talk about. Quick shout out to Silver PR for giving that to me. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Silver PR.
Wonderful 101 remaster. I played a little bit of that. Streamed a little bit of that. I love that game to fucking death. Like I still love that game, and like because I haven't really played it because I put 100 hours into like the original game. But this is like the fresh new gameplay, and like obviously like with a platinum game, like your first playthrough is always the hardest. So like just replaying that game for the first time again, having like the cutscenes that like they automatically skip because like these characters now, like when you do replay throughs, they don't show those cutscenes anymore. So I'm seeing those cutscenes again after not seeing them for forever. That's been really good and a good treat and takes me back. Still super fun. The Wii U implementation, as far as like the dual screen stuff, is like you could tell like they did the best that they could with that, because like it's like basically like making it like two screens at the same time.
It's like picture in picture, right?
More or less, yeah. You can expand or make it as big as you want to for those scenes. So like, and like I originally played the game usually just playing just with a controller anyway. So it's still like it's still bread and butter to me. It's no real big deal. And I think they did the best with what they could do. I still think that game is really, really good, and I think this is a good way to for people to give it a fair shot. I hope they put out a demo of it for the general public to like really get their hands on it, just like to see if they'll actually like it, because like the game still has issues with stuff like with camera issues and like like and getting used to like just like it's one of those things where the game asks a lot. Just kind of was talking with Barrett. Like the game asks a lot out of you. But like I think when you get past the hump as far as like how they want you to play the game and like kind of just expect you to kind of understand, because I still think they don't really do the best job of like explaining the game of like how you play and stuff like that. Unfortunately, but like I still think it's still just the most stellar of games. Like it's still hype as fuck. It's still fun as fuck. Yeah, I just hope people get around and give it a good shot this time around.
It's interesting. I just as someone who's played and finished that game, I still don't think a demo would do it justice.
It probably won't, honestly.
Because I think about the first level of that game, and it's a fine first level. It's just like you're getting new people on your squad like for the first like 14 chapters of that game, which is a long time. I remember like the last person you get, I think is like, is it like the girl that's kind of like antagonistic to you for a lot of it?
No, like the last character you get is probably, I don't want to say it, but like one of the main antagonists of the game.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking. And like that happens.
She's antagonistic to you? Oh, you mean the antagonist?
No, it's not a lady. I remember I was like so surprised when that happened, and that's like more than halfway through that game, I think. Which is cool, and it speaks to like that game continues to evolve very deep into it, to the point like in the post game you get a new thing also. Like I forget, like in the epilogue chapter you get a new character that you can then go back and play through the game with, which is super cool. Like it's just, even as someone like that's a game that like 75% clicked with me, I would say. It's one I'm like really glad you made me play, because it's just so out of my wheelhouse. I would have never played it otherwise.
I did not make you play it. You played it yourself.
No, you made me play, because you lent it to me, and then you were like, well, if you're not gonna play it, I'll take it back. I was like, no.
That's not making you play it.
But it was one of those things. It was one of those things where I know you wanted me to play all of it, and I was like, all right, I'll do it. I'll fully do it. And it's a thing that I really appreciate. I like a lot of parts of that game. I wish I liked more of it, but like regardless, I'm just very glad I played it. So if that is any consolation to anybody listening that is on the fence about it, you'll never play anything like The Wonderful 101, and I think it is
100%.
It like I said, it is always introducing new things all the way through the end of that game, literally after you finish the game, and I think that's really cool. It's just very long. It's like 20 hours long, which is maybe too long for me, but it's very long.
Kamiya makes long fucking games, dude.
It's true. I like Okami is fucking 40 hours long, and I always forget that. But I'm like,
it's what's always like stopped me from going back to Okami is like recognizing that Okami is way longer than I want it to be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like even Bayonetta 1 is like 16 hours or something like that. That game was long.
Yeah, I remember I was like 7 hours into it, like like winded, like. But that's a similar thing of like you're still getting new shit all the time in that game. So at the very they make long games, but they do a good job of always making it feel like you're progressing or evolving even late in the game. So Wonderful 101. Is that all you've been playing, Nabeshin?
Yeah, that's everything.
Jarrett Green.
Hi.
We've rounded the table. It's back to you, sir.
Well, I played and beat
all video games.
Yeah, all of them. Streets of Rage 4.
Nice. It's been cool seeing a lot of people play this.
The game is dope.
I'm surprised of not that the reaction was good, but that so many people have been pulled in to play it. You kind of forget that beat 'em ups are like almost like a universal language when it comes to video games. Like none of them are very hard to play. Anyone can sit down and push square a lot with their homies. That's kind of like what old video games were.
Yes.
And there's a reason that was like A, they're easy to make, but B, like as many people can play them as possible. So you forget that this sometimes very simple sort of version of video games was like the most popular shit you could do. And it makes it, seeing this reaction is like, makes the idea that we waited like so long between sequels for this game. Like, I don't know that it would have gotten the same reaction 7 years ago, but you know, that Sega was just like hanging out and on Streets of Rage 3 and just like, they're like, now we're good. We'll just wait 20 years before we release another one of these. It's hard.
Do you know how this game got started?
Well, I know that Sega had a team of folks who were going to do this about 7 or 8 years ago, and instead they ended up like laying off everyone, that entire division, and that project kind of got shut down. But then it starts passing through hands and shit.
So the guys that made Wonder Boy,
Mhm.
I don't know if it was a Kickstarted one. I don't think it was, but the ones that obviously have now gone on to make Streets of Rage, they made Wonder Boy, they put it out, and it was like, a remake of a classic franchise that they liked, and they made a pitch prototype and pitched it to Sega and showed them Wonder Boy and showed them that, and they're like, and I'm paraphrasing this story, so if I'm getting details wrong, I apologize to the developer that told it to me. But they pitched it. This guy who's a huge Streets of Rage fan said like, hey, like, we think we could help make this game, and instead of like being brought onto a project, Sega gave them the license and was like, we want you and your team to make Streets of Rage 4, which it's just one of those really cool stories.
Requires a lot of trust. You take a risk when you give let a license like leave the internal process and just let a bunch of like an indie developer, which is a dude and some homies, like make your game. This game was an icon forever. So it's been dormant for a long time. No one was really thinking about it, but like it's still kind of a big deal. Like you don't want one to come out and it be bad, right? But I think, maybe even I think me and George, who also likes this game a lot, where we diverge is I kind of wish it was even more different. Like it takes baby steps away from the original formula. I say baby steps in context, like this game, like technically speaking, is like a completely different game than Streets of Rage 3. Like there's way more mechanical depth. There's way more to do. There's a lot more ways to find like a personal sort of gameplay or skill expression out of Streets of Rage 4 than you ever could in prior games. But where I like how like Vanillaware has taken the beat 'em up and turned it into an RPG, basically, I feel like there's room to work in this space too, to like really turn up like fucking beat 'em ups.
Turn up, get turned.
Not that this had to happen to this one, but like now that everyone's interested again in these things, like whoever's next up like can really do some damage, I think, here. I think of games like the also recently released Treachery and Beatdown City, which I wrote about on the site, is a beat 'em up, but what if a beat 'em up had like Parasite Eve vibes as far as mechanics are concerned? Like, what if your beat 'em up became a strategy game, sort of?
Okay.
Like, that's the kind of like, galaxy brain shit I think we can do with beat 'em ups, to make them not just like feel cool, but like really interesting in a modern context. I guess kind of related, Sean Alexander Allen, who is the lead developer and like co-founder of New Challenger, who developed that game, was a part of the squad who was initially supposed to make what would become Street Fighter or Streets of Rage 4, 8 years ago.
Oh shit.
Before that team got folded, he was signing NDAs and was about to join the team to do it. Which is kind of where this started for him. Instead of doing that, he started making this game. Then they made the game he would eventually release. But it also has like it's a cool game. It's fucking Streets of Rage 12. It's not very long to play. It gets easier every time you play it because you start learning shit. It's super duper replayable. You can unlock so many things. Just like tons of secrets everywhere. If playing a game to just find all the weird shit is like kind of how you want to play a game that like you can get through quickly, but there's like so many things to find every time, and this is for you.
That sounds.
Did
also
Did you ever check out that This is like maybe almost 10 years ago. Like someone made this is like around like Newgrounds, like old, a long time ago. But like someone made like it was like 8 years in development. Like a group of people made like a Streets of Rage remake, and like it just I had like a whole bunch of stuff. It was just on PC. That they just released out for fans. Like just some random guy did it, and like Sega told him to pull it off. So like it's an old game. It's so super out.
Was it the God, I can't remember.
Hold on, here's a link right here.
It's like one of the Smash Brothers. It just turns out it's one of the Smash Brothers knockoffs.
Because I kind of remember artwork of the Streets of Rage sort of fan remake. Let me see here. Yeah, this is what I was thinking of. It's like
a combination of all the Streets Rage games into
right.
Like
they
one
put
game.
them all into one game. It's like 16-bit, like in action, but like all the art is, like a step up and more in detail.
Mm-hmm.
And this was, I think someone finally reached out and put the cease and desist out like 5 years ago, I think, or something like 5 or 6
No, I think
years
it was like soon after. I think like they made it, and like maybe like even like a week later, like they had to take it down.
Really? When was this? 2000? Oh yeah, you're right. This is like 2011, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it was literally like a week later.
That's excellent.
I might still have it on my computer because I remember downloading it, but I just never got around to playing it because it's on PC.
You have to upload it.
And I remember that was the first time I was really sort of present of mind enough to like realize, yeah, we haven't had one of these in a while.
Yeah.
Because I always considered that game like ubiquitous, but in reality, it's not. Like, no one's making this game. It's just I see it like whenever you go to an arcade, that's always there. Streets of Rage or multiple Streets of Rages are always there.
Yeah, I think they literally pulled that down too because like, we're actually making the Streets of Rage game, and then like they had to cancel
I think
it.
that's exactly what happened. Like someone inside was like, "Oh shit, they beat us to it."
Oh, that's funny.
Looking at these screenshots now. Very interesting. That's cool though. Seeing like, it is weird to think of like the gulf between the Streets of Rage and the last one, but I think this is definitely talking about how many people are checking it out. I think this is a game that Game Pass helped.
Yeah.
That's the vibe I get, at least. It feels like a lot more people are just giving it a carefree shot because of Game Pass.
I think a lot of it is also probably just social media, right? There's the benefit of people sharing screenshots and like just being generally pumped. Like,
game looks sick. Also, that helps.
Yeah, and the music's good. Yuzo came back, and a bunch of the modern music boys got together to make a soundtrack fitting of like the legacy here.
I remember how stressed George was about that music, man. I'm glad the composer came back in the end.
He did. He's a DJ now. I mean, he was at least 4 years ago when I saw him. And like half of his set is just like remix Streets of Rage shit.
That's awesome though. But
yeah, like
is Streets of Rage in like what like pantheon of canon is that in?
I think people.
Is it?
I think with beat 'em ups, at least, like people think about a lot of beat 'em ups together. Like they think about Streets of Rage with games like Golden Axe. Like they just kind of, or maybe Alter Beast. I don't know if anyone thinks about Alter Beast, but
No one thinks of Ultra Beast.
but I think people think about Alter Beast, but
Scott
forget it's
Guthrie
bad.
thinks about Alter Beast probably.
Ultra Beast is trash
It's-
on an
I-
Ultra
like,
The first
Beast.
time I ever played Altered Beast was with Scott Guthrie, and he fucking loved it. He hated
Really?
it. He hated it, to be clear, but he loved it. You know what I mean? Like one of those.
Like, man, what a game! What a horrible game.
Yeah, it's so bad, dude.
It's so bad.
But like,
It's
I think
so
people
fun,
think
though.
of Streets of Rage like as a piece of that entire like era, like Final Fight, like Double Dragon,
Turtles in Time.
Turtles in Time. Yeah, like I don't know if anyone picks them out. Like only people who are like super hardcore into beat 'em ups like pick and choose them. I think most of the people just think of them all the same.
I guess I'm more thinking of like how what's the one with Hagar in it?
Final Fight.
Final Fight. How like Final Fight is in the Street Fighter universe, right? Like is just
I don't know that Streets of Rage is in a universe outside of itself. Like,
that's
and I
cool,
think you
though.
find that Final Fight bleeds into other places because of SNK's relationship with Capcom and lots of other Japanese developers, and like all that sort of IP sharing that happened in the 90s. So like Hagar can end up in fighting games and people can see him other places, and that hasn't really been the case for Streets of Rage characters.
Yeah, I was just curious if there had ever been that kind of crossover with them.
No, I think there was maybe like a comic book situation, but I don't know if that ever happened. And I know that there's been plenty of games in the Streets of Rage series, but I don't know that the story has been like so compelling that you find a need for like a lore. I know there's a 3D one that sort of like tried to expand that a little bit, but like
Is there, dude?
there's a something called Spike Out. It was on the
PS2, probably.
maybe. No, I want to say it was like
Or Dreamcast?
I want to say it was definitely in an arcade, which is how I know it. But it
Sega
might have
Saturn?
went to Xbox, and it might not be called Spike Out on the Xbox. I think it's called something else.
Gotcha.
One of those Americanized titles.
Yeah, it's probably like Battle something. But
Battle Cage.
it was an attempt to like make it like it was an attempt to what was that, Freedom Force or whatever. There was like a 3D beat 'em up that was like a thing in the like late 90s.
Right.
It was an attempt to do one of those, or like the Tekken Force like mini game. It was attempted to be that, and it was just good enough to be something you played at an arcade once and like never again. So I mean, if there's any value here, like the real win would be if this does turn into something that can expand its presence. Like if Adam shows up in a video game or somewhere else, if Adam goes to Smash or something, that'd be neat. That's not going to happen, but like it would be interesting. But I guess we'll see, right? Like the buzz around it's good. Like I don't know what kind of money Sega needs to make this like consider it a success for them. But Streets of Rage never had an opportunity to become like a licensed cash cow thing, like a lot of Sega games tend to be. And I think this is a cool opportunity for them if they can make it work.
As an unrelated comment, around the brim of the mini Dr. Pepper cans, which I'm drinking right now, it says "You deserve this." And
Thanks, Dr. Pepper.
It's just very layered right now. You know what I mean? Like, I looked down at my can just through the microphone. It says "You deserve that." I just see that text. I was like, "Oh God." Fuck, Dr. Pepper, Nostradamus over here.
Mm-hmm.
What does the doctor know that I don't? That's what I want to know.
He knows you deserve it.
Apparently. Anything else you've been playing outside of Streets of Rage 4?
I played Sea of Thieves with y'all
Yeah,
for a little bit.
You and I did not get to play together. I came in the last hour. You left after the first hour.
I should ask who played on PC and who played on Xbox.
I played on PC.
Everyone else was on PC and I was on Xbox, I think.
Gotcha.
And they all just kept telling me how fucking good the water looked. And I was like, all right, it fucking looks good for me too, I guess. Well, like, I don't know. The hell
Whatever.
you-
I had never seen the water in motion before. I was like, oh, look at this water-ass water.
It's very good. It is good water.
I was tempted to like dive in off the boat to see what happened, but like, why do that to
Usually
myself?
sharks will show up, so, you know. Good
Why
call.
get left behind?
But yeah, that's Andrew Taylor said he downloaded to his PC. I texted Scott and Tony to see if they were in, but I guess they don't have Game Pass right now, so but maybe
Fair.
next time they will jump in as well. It was a lot of fun. I'm still like, I would love to see if we can get like 8 players on a galley or a galleon.
I don't know how that like. How does that work? Like, I know you can only group. You can go into to the game as groups of 4, but like, could people outside of the group of 4 find your group and be like, attempt to?
In theory, for sure. My idea is that essentially we all join up in a group of 4 on an island, an outpost, because like when we load in, we'll all load in on the same outpost if we boot up together. And then while I'm on that outpost, I leave the group and I just stay there because it doesn't kick you to a menu when you leave the group. I think you just leave group. And then I invite everyone to my game. They load up on the same island. And then instead of just taking my ship, we all just go on the other groups.
Okay.
I think it'll work fine. Tony told me that he had done it successfully once, and it wasn't too bad. It's a little bit of like, hey, we're gonna have to figure this out. The only trouble is if one team, there's 2 teams on one boat technically, and you're tied to the ship. So if any of us die and we had to respawn, we would go back to our ship.
Right. Not on the ship that you died on because it's not your ship technically.
Yeah, but at the very least, we would know we'd be in the same instance together.
There's probably like friendly fire too, I imagine.
Yeah, but that's on regardless. You can
Oh, is it?
You can hurt each other anytime.
Okay.
At least I think there is a toggle for that, but it's off by default. So.
Okay.
But yeah, that's I think we could. I'd like to give it a shot at the very least. And just having 8 people on a boat would make it so efficient.
Yes.
It would actually feel like a crew, I think. But yeah, we're gonna play more for sure. It was very good in the way of like we all kept talking about how much fun that we had like in Slack and everything. It was like, wow, I was very surprised by how much fun we all had.
And I think it's not really great I mean, I say that not having played it single player, but it doesn't feel. It feels 100% sort of like designed for a group of people to just go fuck around.
Yeah.
With like very light guidance to put us,
just
in direction
in a region to fuck around.
It's like, here, you should go to this island and do this shit, and then 4 people get together and make their best attempt to get to the island and do something.
It was just like, when we got to the island, like one of those Sea of Thieves moments of like we got to this island to find this treasure, and then we looked to the north. There's just tentacles coming out of the ground surrounding a ship like 50 miles out in the water. And it's like, not 50, like probably a mile or 2 out in the water. And it's like, oh fuck, I do not envy those guys. And then we just went about our business. It was cool.
Yeah,
let's fight a kraken is what I'm saying. Next time, there's a bunch of different ammo types now. Back when I played, there was just you had your cannonballs and then chain cannonballs. But now there's like fire cannonballs. There's like grog cannonballs that make you drunk if you get hit with them.
I didn't realize there wasn't all that ammo before. That's weird ass.
That's all new stuff.
Things to shoot at people.
There's like 12 more factions now.
Yeah, I can see where people would be like grumpy about this game when it launched.
Yeah,
because this all seems like it should have been there, but I can see how. I guess.
I mean, the UI is also completely different, like and better. I would say the menu system is better. Like you didn't have an inventory system before. There was no inventory. If you hit pause, it would go to like the pause menu, like continue, go back to title screen menu. Now it like opens up like your inventory and you can arrange stuff. That wasn't even there before.
How would you like?
It was all on your quick wheels, and it had like 4 pages of quick wheels. Now it's like all your stuff and then tossables, like throwable items, and then you have an inventory that you can just go into. How crazy
love
is
that.
that?
I don't love that at all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's good now, so.
Well, yeah, now it's fine, but what you just described sounds like trash.
Yeah, it was fucking wild, dude. I can't even begin to tell you. But yeah, they got it there. Anything else you played?
I'm spending a lot of my recent quarantines like going through my backlog.
Yeah. Any big
like,
hitters? Did you
looking
play
at-
the original Halo?
No, I didn't. Apparently, there's been like a movement to play old Halo games across the internet. I'm gonna tell you now, that's not happening for me.
Mostly George Cruz.
It's George
Okay.
Cruz, but I saw somebody else playing Halo 2 that was like completely unrelated to this. I'm like, why the fuck are we playing Halo games?
George's playing Halo 2 for the first time right now, and it's just been so funny. He's like, I can't believe they fucking nerfed this pistol. It's like, dude, people were
like,
pissed
yeah.
about this 16 years ago. Like,
Yeah, why are we redigging this discourse up? Like,
Like,
we can just let it, we let it die, and we can just keep it dead.
he had a great video of just him throwing the Halo box in the trash because like, it was very good.
He got himself re-mad, worked himself into a shoot about fucking Halo 2 in 2020.
Of course he did.
So there was a bunch of games on my list that like turns out I had played most of and never finished for whatever reason.
It's Final Fantasy
Probably-
13 on this list.
It was on the list. That's the game I beat once and will never to play again, I think. And I said that
Bartendles.
like 12 years ago, and I think I might be lying because I might play it again.
Yeah, dude. Let's go back. The Alex
Only
O'Neil
because I'm
Jarrett
playing
Let's Play.
7. After playing the remake, a lot of people are trying to vindicate Final Fantasy 13 like it was the precursor for this shit, and I just don't believe that at all. And I don't remember enough to make a strong argument, so I should probably play it if I'm going to continue this shit talking.
No.
Man, I've been missing out.
Like George, I like digging up old discourse.
Yeah,
So
there's
yes, I
some
will
discourse.
absolutely fight someone over Final Fantasy 13 again if I have to.
I'll say this as someone who likes Final Fantasy 13 and has defended it for a long time. It's still not as Final Fantasy 7 remake is doing a lot more and a lot different things than 13. But also, hey, maybe 13 was never bad. I'm just saying.
So I can't do this right now.
I can't dig up these fucking wounds.
Can't do it. I
can. I have been.
Yes, I see that.
Except for the 13.2. No, we don't talk about it. That shit doesn't exist.
I tried. I think 13.2 was like a PlayStation Plus game at some point.
If the first cutscene of your video game is undermining the ending of the
The
previous
entire
video game,
ending of the
and,
previous.
and literally the whole fucking point of it,
Yeah.
get the fuck out.
Remember that 50 hours you spent reading in-game journals to understand the story? Fuck all that.
It's bullshit.
Thanks.
Dumb bullshit.
Thank you
When
very
Corvo
much, sir.
talked at the beginning of Dishonored 2, I was out. Not really. That one's fake.
There's I remember 3 being okay.
Lightning Returns.
Yeah.
It seems like they might have gotten somewhere there, but I was reading some Final Fantasy 13 lore. And I was reading some fucking lore pages.
Dusted off the lore
Because
book.
I was like, one night I was just like, I want to read, what do you think the lore page for Bartendles is like in the Final Fantasy wiki? Turns out it's very dense. But then like I found out that some of the stuff that they added, like how they developed the grander Final Fantasy 13 story in 2 and Lightning Returns, just some dumb shit.
Well, by Lightning Returns is we're not even talking about the same story. Like this bitch is traveling through time and shit. Like we're doing some different shit now.
The thing I like is they do kind of get into like some classic D&D like planar shit, which I appreciate. Of like, there's essentially like an ethereal plane, and then like the gods are essentially behind some level of divine gate, which is very similar to like D&D shit. And to be fair, I've been literally listening to hundreds of hours of Critical Role per week, so I have a lot of D&D.
So you're an expert.
On the mind. Yeah, I honestly have. Matt Mercer has slowly turned me into a D&D rules expert. But that some of that stuff is cool, and I appreciate them kind of like going for some level of traditional fantasy. But there's like a god. There's like a god that like shows up when you're like when something happens and he like warps you to like a time plane or some shit and fucks your whole day up. It's just some dumb stuff.
It's a hot mess.
But OG
Some
Final
might say.
Fantasy 13, outside of being incredibly melodramatic and like for some reason these three groups of two characters all have to have like the most dramatic over the top like everything is bad because of me conversations, and all of them have to have that like
And several of them have like turns back and forth
for
between
15
like
hours. Like
really upset and really not like Hope. I feel like is like despondent and then like full of hope and joy like 4 or
and
5
then
different times.
pissed, and he's like super pissed all of a sudden, and then he's sad again. Anyway, that happens for 15 whole hours, and it's like I love drama and it's very teen drama thing, but I think like there isn't enough around that. Like you are literally just kind of going through hallways around that, and you're seeing beautiful environments, and it's like, but like they make you like just not give a shit about the culture on Cocoon and like these essentially these privileged people that live the privileged good life. Like when you know that you know it's all just as soon as you get touched by one of these bad gods, you're just gonna get like murdered. Or sent down to
bad
like,
gods.
Sent down to like the desert wasteland planet. It's fucking the Supergiant game. It's just that, you know. It
is. It's Pyre, but without a mechanism to leave
Yeah.
the underworld and go back.
Yeah.
And if you put it that way, you'd be like, "Oh, this game makes perfect sense." They don't put it that way.
No.
They put it every other way except that way.
And there's no culture on Grand Pulse. It's just like a big empty space where you fight.
The
big
only
monsters.
culture you recognize on Grand Pulse is that apparently people from Grand Pulse dress, exotically.
Very, very exotically.
They wear necklaces that could be made of beans and bones. Some of them one has a staff, I guess.
Yeah. It's just
They're lesbians. Who knows?
Doesn't make who knows?
What a podcast! Like Kingdom Hearts and then Sonic.
And then Final Fantasy 13, dude. We're hitting all the fucking heavy hitters.
All the points, dude.
If you
all the old goodies.
honestly, if you look at the last 10 years of Irrational Passions, you're getting the highlight reel all in one episode.
Yeah, basically.
Me simultaneously dunking on and defending Final Fantasy 13 is Irrational Passions podcast to a T, I think.
Another old standby as I finished Death Stranding last week.
Oh, yeah.
I
do that.
picked it up.
You'll never finish it.
I'm pretty sure I quit in December at chapter 6 when they're like, "Yo, you want snow?" And I was like, "Absolutely not." And
Cease
just didn't. But I picked it back up and had to be an adult and soldier through.
What did you think of the ending, man?
Let me tell you, that game ends 4 times.
It's
And I'm
so
like,
many
bro.
times.
And I won't spoil it, I guess. But there's definitely 20 minutes of running on the beach.
Yes, there is. Longer if you think that what you're supposed to do is stand still.
Yes, and I was like, bro, Kojima, my man, someone should have came and stopped you right around
someone
here.
should have at least truncated this to maybe
Someone had
3
to stop
minutes.
this. Stop this madness.
Yeah. Kojima just needs a good editor, man. That's what we've been saying this whole time.
That's all he's ever needed, and like I'm starting to think that Konami keeping him enslaved was the editor, and now he's free, and no one's going to stop him.
Yeah, no one's gonna say no to that man ever again, probably.
It's a problem.
Until he has this next flop, which I just don't think is anytime soon.
Does he flop anymore? Can he flop? Like
I'm sure he could.
I don't know. Like he made a game about delivering packages into a 50-hour AAA experience. Like Sony didn't have to write a check for this, and they did. They did it because they trusted whatever you're going to do, people are going to buy, and it turns out that was true. So like he could make a game about eating sandwiches, and I feel like that's going to crush it.
Yeah, but if the game about eating sandwiches has fucking sick trailers, dude, I'm in.
It's going to be
like at the end of the day,
whales on fire in the sky eating sandwiches.
we can say whatever the fuck we want on this podcast, but if there's a dope trailer, we're gonna be like, I gotta fucking know what this is about. Like
that's what I'm saying. Like he could make a 5, but if he treat it like a 10 in the trailers, it's a done deal.
Yeah.
I mean, all he has to do is make the sandwich political, and then he just got
Right.
Got a story right there.
Right. Did the war economy make the
the
sandwich?
sandwich is about global warming, dude. You don't understand. It's about global
Like-
warming. We are on our own destruction.
It's weird
Here,
having like a fox sound symbol tattooed to you in 2020.
at some point in that game, you see a big dumb mammoth that's still preserved with an umbilical cord hanging out of it,
You do.
and
And then
it's like they really,
Nicholas Winding
That's the
Refn, the
thread.
director of Drive, moves his PowerPoint to another screen, and now like a little trilobite has an umbilical cord. And I'm like, bro, what's going on?
it's just like, for me, I think the frustrating thing, and I still really like Death Stranding. I've said before, like I have many problems with it, but at the end of the day, I kind of love it. I would say I love it more because of those. If I didn't feel some kind of way about it, I wouldn't like it as much, which I think is the point, and I hate it.
Yeah, I think that's 100% the point. Like if you leave this game feeling a solid opinion about any of it, then you didn't play this game correctly.
Yeah, exactly. But like, it was just that the thread that is the whole thing is like the elephant with the umbilical cord, the mammoth with the umbilical cord, not like the cool monsters.
Yeah, or anything else. Like,
yeah.
and I think that part of that is interesting, right? Like you struggle through the day-to-day of living in this world, doing the job you do because of the fucking mammoth with the umbilical cord. Like they're completely disconnected on paper, but just like anything in time, one begets the other, whether you had anything to do about it or not. I just think maybe we should make sure there's less time between like moments when Kojima can do something that he wants to do.
Give him more thinking room. Get him writing movie scripts. Get him distracted, you know?
I feel like movies would be worse. Like,
Oh yeah, that's
I
why
would rather him
I want
continue making games and not make 3-hour movies.
I want those 3-hour movies. Are you kidding me?
Like I can't imagine what Metal Gear Solid would look like if someone let him make it a movie.
It'd be the Irishman with nanomachines.
It'd be Metal Gears talking to each other for 3 hours.
Robert De Niro shows up and tells you about nanomachines.
It'll be all of his favorite directors in one movie who are all terrible actors, just talking to each
The
other.
Room, but about fucking nanomachines.
Yeah, it'll be The Room.
Whatever it is, it has to have nanomachines, son. What else do you play?
The game also turns into Metal Gear Solid for most of the end of that game.
Yeah, like weirdly. And
So shout out to the Higgs fight. I thought that was funny.
I like the Higgs fight. I like Higgs a lot. People hate on Higgs, and they're like, "Man, Higgs is the fucking."
Because it's just Troy Baker out here.
Yeah, but it looks like him, so I'm like down. You know, it's just him there hanging out. I'm like, all right.
I can't imagine watching him, like filming him doing, because it's clearly just him in a green screen by himself, just
Yeah.
like out here. That must be really very interesting film somewhere.
He has so much fun with it. Is the thing. Like he genuinely enjoys playing that role. I think, and that is contagious.
And he's like, he's got that little Southern Merc accent. Like he was really into this one. Which good for you.
Like
good
that,
for you.
that Nabeshin you pointed out when you were playing it, but like the moment where Higgs shows up and it's like so obviously him, and he like goes in, and then he just leaves, and it's like, what is this? But I hate it, but I do love it. Like I do genuinely enjoy. I'm along for the ride, you know.
I think the important part to note is like the problem is when people believe that he's doing the bad stuff on purpose to purposely be bad. That's not what's happening. Kojima thinks it's great. It's not great, but it's working in tandem with things that are, and that's what makes it interesting.
Yeah.
Like, and that's like the I guess the double side of maybe he should have an editor is because someone would have cut this out too. Someone would have cut these really ridiculous Higgs moments out as well. And like, they're not good, but like, do I want them not there? I don't know. If Higgs was just out here like if Higgs was doing Mads Mikkelsen's thing, where he was just kind of like stoic acting thing, I don't think I'd remember Higgs much. But because it's Troy Baker dancing in probably like very nice socks in a green screen, just like really just living, just filling the room, just really just chewing on the script as much as he can.
Yeah.
Then, it gives Higgs a personality that I think is maybe too much, but also very much a memorable thing.
And fits the game. And fits.
Yes. He's kind of the only person who is Higgs. He's the only person that feels this way about the situation everybody's in. And I think that's important.
Yeah.
That makes him stand out.
And like a woman as the lead writer. Just once.
Yeah. Or like maybe you don't have to even call her lead writer, right? Like if that's going to make him upset, but she should be there. In the room at all times, just call her the script adult or something. I don't know.
That like we're gonna make this actually presentable to people,
so that when someone like when we're going through a table read and someone's like, yeah, and since she's sad, we take her clothes off. She just stands up and is like, no, we don't do that. She gets to keep her.
No, she's just sad, and that's okay. And even like has a complex feeling about it, and it's not just
right.
sad.
And like, yes, this woman, she has a really complicated relationship with children because of the situation of her birth. We're not going to call her Mama, though. She has a name. We're just going to call her that.
Oh man, where the mama story goes, huh? I don't know if you got that far in option, but
oh yeah, like the mama stuff. Like remember, like isn't that one of our titles? Let's say, didn't the mama stuff happen?
Yeah,
because that's when I did.
Yeah, you're totally right. Because it's like I like her character so much at first, and I think there was like way more interesting places to go, and then
they immediately replace her with her twin.
Yeah,
who's just like her.
It's just
They're
her.
like sweet.
And then they like. And then she hugs herself when their souls fuse, and that happens. And
yeah,
and then she's two different colors.
And you know what? This is where the script adult would show up and say, "Nah,
like, no, we're not doing that.
We don't have to do this."
What if the baby was just hers and she didn't have a sister, and it was just all right? Anyway.
Yeah. What if what if that was chill?
Anything else in your backlog that you knocked out?
I think the only other significant one, like I finished a couple things that were lingering, but I finally I had bought Katana Zero last year and never played it.
Yeah.
And I finally sat down and went through it.
Good.
And I think I got an ending that I wasn't supposed to get, and I had like an immediate compulsion to make a different choice and see that other side. But I was like, fuck it, this is how I ended it, so it's whatever.
What'd you do? Was it
I chose to die.
Yeah. Okay.
And not I assume would be me going through the gate and having another set of people to kill.
It actually it keeps going for a little while, actually.
Oh, does it diverge significantly from there?
It's pretty significant. I think it's worth going back, just because you don't find out a lot of stuff that you would find out otherwise.
Yeah, I didn't know how close to the end that particular part was. I assumed that it was really me checking to if they're bluffing. Is this the end to you, or is this just another way to get me to whatever your end is? And it turns out they're like, no, you're okay, you're dead. And the game's like, game over, credits.
I think at that point they're like there is some level of a countdown timer of some days are left before something happens, and then that happens before you reach the end of that timer, and the game hits the end of that timer and then goes on for 2 more days. So
okay,
it's cool stuff too. Did you fight the guy with the gold hand and all?
A couple of times, I think.
Yeah, there's another one, a fight with him that's pretty interesting. And
the last real I fight him on a helicopter, but I don't know if that's the last one. And I know I fight his purple-headed homie in a room with an axe at some point.
There, the kind of reveal moment of kind of figuring out what those flashbacks are, or what those scenes that your character is seeing and all that. You still haven't seen that, and I think that is worth seeing. Okay. It recontextualizes a lot of that game, and it's of finally understanding what they're building to with that scene that they keep going back to. It recontextualizes a lot of that game in a fascinating way, and then there's more to uncover after that if you want to get the secrets and stuff. Did you do the level where you have to? I think this is just halfway through the game. where you have to like go hunt down the guy and he's like talking to you through screens?
I think so.
So fun. That's a cool level where you're like going through like different challenge rooms and all that. You can not have him ever find out that you're there. So like the video message never plays, and you can like essentially sneak through that whole area.
Oh, really?
And get to the end before that person realizes that you're there.
That's cool.
Yeah, so there's like, and that will unlock like a secret weapon and stuff. Like there's cool stuff, post game stuff like that you can do. I ended up actually doing all of that, unlocking all the secrets and stuff in that game.
I'm playing a game now that's embargoed actually until Tuesday. It's like that.
That's cool.
Like small, like short playthroughs, but like with a lot of ways to play through it. So you can maybe not, you probably get to the same end, but like there are lots of things between the beginning of that game and the end of the game that you can interact or just completely miss. And depending on depending on the paths you take and the choices you make. So it's cool, and I would much prefer a game that's short that allows you to play through it like multiple different times in different ways than a game that's like 30 hours with really one linear path.
Yeah, that's why I like Oxenfree so much. It's a very good 6 to 7 hour game that can go like way different, because essentially like there's 3 branch points where you decide who you want to play that section of the game with, like of the 6 teenage kids. And like you will be closer to some people if you choose certain people. You will be not closer to some people, but also if you decide to go with one person, maybe these two will go off together and then they'll like hook up. Like, you know, a bunch of cool stuff can happen in that game. And it's
sweet,
and it's freaky. It's got some freaky stuff in it. Katana Zero is a good one to go back to. That's like a very consumable game to see. I'm glad you played it. Anything else?
No, that's probably it.
Cool. At some point, not tonight, but at some point, you and I should maybe sit down and have like a one-on-one conversation about Final Fantasy VII.
I'm capable of that.
You told me that once you had heard me talk about it, in the podcast that you had your headphones off for, Nabeshin, that you wanted to talk to me about it, Jared. So I'd be curious to hear what you had to say.
I'm gonna have to step out to go get my nephew from work.
That is totally fine. We can
but like please do me a favor and talk about Insane Xbox. I'll just I'll probably listen to you guys like later on after this, but like just share your opinion so that'd be on my.
Sure, I can do that.
All right.
Goodbye, Nabeshin.
I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. There, Jarrett.
Then it was just us. All right, I have to make sure the video on stream looks a little good. I gotta adjust this a little bit.
Did you have to do the Solid Snake voice when you did that?
I did. I thought so. You and me. I can do different voices though. That was an example. Let's if that's all video games, let's I guess we can transfer over to the news in gaming. I don't have the thing to play, so just imagine like the audio listeners will hear the music playing right now while I'm saying these things. News in gaming in a silly voice with news sounds in the background. Jarrett, this week the Inside Xbox kicking off Xbox 2020 happened, and also kicking off Summer Games Fest. Jeff Keighley presents all summer video games. What did you think?
These both things happen, yes.
Yes. We Mike, Scott, and I watched along. Commentary, thoughts, post show, having us all up on YouTube, which is fun. It was fun hanging out and watching that. It was fun to have something to kind of be excited about with video games again. What do you think?
So I didn't watch the actual presentation, but I've been kind of reading all of the sort of news nets, gathering all the information post. I have like no actual opinion about the machine itself. Like I don't know that I'm in a position to even think about the next gen, buying a next gen console. And in reality, the chances of me buying a Series X is pretty slim, simply because about any of the multiplayer things I do is within a Sony ecosystem, and like all of my friends are going to probably just buy another Sony console, which means I'll probably also just be buying another Sony console.
They didn't get you with Game Pass, huh?
No, and more importantly, like if they were ever going to give me the Game Pass, it would involve me buying like this gen's Xbox.
Yeah,
because there's plenty to do there. And I don't know how the multiplayer would work going forward between the two systems, but I imagine it wouldn't be completely cut off. Like there'd probably be some crossplay, I would think.
Yeah,
or maybe not. Who knows?
I think so. I think there would be, and also you could get an Xbox One X probably at that point for a very reasonable cost, and that will be just fine.
Right, and there's none of the third party stuff that I've seen that even if like it was available first on the Xbox One X because it'd be out first. There's nothing I need to play on Xbox. It's like if I was going to play Senua's Sacrifice 2 or whatever, I would probably just play it on whatever Sony console I bought.
Play it on Switch.
But more importantly,
gotcha.
I wouldn't even Switch. More importantly, I probably wouldn't be buying anything till next year anyway. So like, there's plenty of time for me to decide. I just don't know that it's going to be a real decision.
Yeah, that's fair. I took some notes during the presentation, but like I said, we had our kind of post show. My overall, I would say, thoughts, like I was pretty medium on it. Like a lot of people said they were pretty whelmed, not overwhelmed, not underwhelmed. I would put myself in the similar category. I was hoping for a better presentation in regards to Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Obviously, they just kind of ended up showing
that sweet gameplay
engine footage of just like your scenes of the world and then one shot of the protagonist really just kind of jumping on a dude. That was it.
Which, I mean, to be fair, shitty, but
no, I wasn't
also
surprised.
Like maybe not worth getting like worked up on the internet. Like the internet kind of got itself whipped up into. Like everybody needs to calm down. Like video games have been doing this to us for years. Like the fact that it did it again is not the cause for concern.
We're not quite yet at the grounds for termination moment. I wasn't surprised by that. That was honestly, it was a 50-50 shot in my head of like maybe they'll show it like they did Origins. There's like a pretty good first gameplay look at Origins that was like a 2-minute thing that I liked, or maybe they'll just do what they do half the other time, which is just what they did.
Right, and Ubisoft is like the kings of this. Like,
oh yeah,
the scripted play reveal thing.
If you had a journal for like the violators of the no gameplay, no hype rule, like Ubisoft would be probably in the top 3.
100%. Because even they'd be in the top 3 because their gameplay is also not actual.
Yeah, it's all fake. It's also like Watch Dogs. The original Watch Dogs will never
the
be
Watch
forgiven.
Dogs or the Rainbow Six Siege like multiplayer like sort of demo that was just people talking like they were playing the game together but weren't actually.
The Rainbow Six Quarantine demonstration I also think was bullshit, like in a similar way to
yeah.
Siege. They have definitely a bad track record. Like the first time they showed The Division, it's like that game didn't look like that. never
at all
like that. But yeah, I was not necessarily surprised, but whatever. It is a bummer to still be kind of in the dark on what they're changing with that game, but we'll know soon enough. I'm not too worried.
Yeah, I'm interested, but like I'm not a huge Assassin's Creed guy. Origins I played finally, a year or 2 ago. I still am on the fence about if I'm ever going to play Odyssey. I have Syndicate in my Epic Game Store because it was free at some point. I might still even own Unity on disc that I bought for like $10 at like a Target or something. So I get close to these games, and but I haven't really like sunk my teeth into one. Since Origins, but before that, since maybe Black Flag.
Yeah. I think I'm hoping. It sounds like they're going to be more in an Origins direction for this. So I'm hoping I like this one a lot. The highlights from the presentation that I wrote down, the 2 ones that when we were watching we thought looked great were Call of the Sea, which is kind of like a Sea of Thieves-esque aesthetic. and looked like a fun adventure game. It's funny, like I got the take of like that was a single player story driven, like you play through story kind of exploratory, like an adventure game, and like Scott got the vibe that it was more of like a Minecraft kind of get dropped on an island and maybe there are things to find on it, but mostly you're kind of making your own fun. I don't know.
It could maybe be both.
Could be
Who
both.
knows?
Kind of Sea of Thieves is in some ways both. So, could be. I don't know. And then Scarlet Nexus was another highlight for us. Did not look like a next gen game by any means, but was anime as hell. And it had like
Oh yeah.
it had very God Eater vibes of like probably gonna have some level of co-op. Looks like anime. Turns out it's X-Tales developers. It's a Bandai Namco.
Shocker.
Yeah, absolute zero shocker. But it's cool. I think that's a rad situation. So those were the two that we called out that like we saw gameplay of and looked pretty cool. Call of the Sea, there were fish hands at some point. And
There were.
and shit gets real when fish hands show up.
I remember.
It's true of Hellboy, the film, and it's also true of Call of the Sea, the trailer.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like another fish hand situation that was actually good. Can't think of one. To be honest with you, I think we just lied when we said the fish hands are good.
Guillermo del Toro movie. When that lady gets those fish hands, she thought it was pretty good. You know what I mean? The silence speaks volumes.
It's bad. Like, and I don't want to crush anyone, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
that
movie won Best Picture that year.
Yeah,
and I don't know, man.
It's bad.
We were, I think, collectively, maybe the world was just in a weird, horny place at the time. And to think that it's only gotten worse since makes me wonder what we could actually get away with in 2020.
Dude, Avengers 5 is going to be Best Picture, dude.
Like, Guillermo del Toro wasn't quarantined when he wrote that movie.
No.
He was just like, nah, people just want to fuck fishes, dog.
Fish
and everyone was like, all right, cool.
He subscribes to the idea that when fish hands shows up, shit gets real. So,
and you know what? Internet Jarrett's like, yeah, fuck it, dude. I didn't think like the Academy would be like, also like, yeah, fuck it, dude.
You guys are supposed to be the ones that stand up and say no.
You have to be the script adults and say no.
But no, they're very infrequently the script adults though. Or
that's true.
So Bright Memory Infinite was the one they kicked it off with, which was a very cool looking first person shooter. It had very people can fly vibes to it. I don't know if you saw this one, but
it also it reminded me of when Black was shown off.
Yes. Similar.
Where it's just like, you like ray tracing, you like bullet holes that stay permanent.
Yes.
You want a visual feast with bullets in it.
Yeah, it looked good. That was probably the best looking game that they showed, I thought. Although the second standout, Chorvs, Rise is One, was like a space combat game, Star Fox-esque. Looked like it had some level of control aesthetic, or at least similar.
What's that, Chorus? Yeah.
Which looked pretty rad. And that was 2021.
And mad particle effects.
Yes, super particle effects. A lot of these had like those launch game vibes of like hella particle effects, and turn up the graphics setting to 69. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
So, which I'm here for. Like, I think launch games are a special kind of interesting, and it's always fun to get them and be like, oh, this will not age well. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 looked cool. I don't know if that was the first time we saw gameplay of that, but
maybe.
Yeah, definitely the first time I saw gameplay of it, and I thought it looked cool. The Ascent, which is like if you took that PS3 Deadlight or whatever the twin stick shooter was, and then made that for Xbox and had it.
Oh, the survival game.
Damnation. Don't know.
That's it.
Don't even know how I fucking remembered it. Man, that game was not amazing, and I gave it a really high score on irrationalbadge.com.
It was fine.
It was fine.
Damnation was fine.
Yeah.
It was like it was a in between like big hits for Housemarque, I think at the time.
I was young.
And it was a big PS3 thing. The Apocalypse Edition, the thing they did for PS4,
Yeah, they did do it on PS4.
that was okay.
Okay.
That's when I played it and I was like, maybe I like this game more in the past, but it's fine.
The Ascent, yeah, it looks like Detonation, but cyberpunk, space, and also not very interesting. Second Extinction, Left 4 Dead with dinosaurs. If you wanted that, congratulations.
Yeah, maybe we need them Turok vibes. I want to let you in on something. They did it.
They did it.
Not really, because Turok was like a first-person action game, a first-person shooter with like a story. This looks like it's just going to be, like you said, Left 4 Dead with fucking dinosaurs, which honestly,
Could be all right.
fine.
Yeah, could be
All
fine.
right.
If that is like a $30 game that gets you 7 hours
That's a
of
Game
fun.
Pass game.
Yeah, that's a Game Pass game for sure, actually. Yakuza 7, Like a Dragon, which is great, very exciting. And then they ended with Assassin's Creed. Oh, Dirt 5 showed up, which I didn't expect. I thought the people that made those games didn't exist anymore.
Yeah, it's funny. I thought so too.
And Scorn getting its rightful dues finally in front of the people.
Very Geiger,
Very Geiger.
horny and scary.
Yes, horny, fleshy meat guns. If you've not ever listened to Easy Ollie's podcast, you may not have heard of Scorn, but they used to sponsor that podcast, and they would talk about it literally every week. I almost verbatim recounted the Brandon Jones spiel for Scorn on the stream. An atmospheric horror adventure game from Ebb Software. Yeah, it's a game that has a very cool aesthetic. All the jokes about Scorn aside, I genuinely think Scorn is just rad. So I'm glad more people got to see it. That was it. Yeah, it was very. It was just nice to have something.
There was a Madden trailer.
There was a Madden trailer in there, but
They're making more of those. Surprise.
yeah, soon Madden is going to be the only football.
Yeah, you're right. They used to play Madden professionally. That's not true. They still do. But
Yeah,
professional games used to only be Madden, really.
yeah, Madden and Call of Duty. And
There was a
Halo.
time when people just paid you a lot to be good at Madden.
Now they just pay you a very small modicum fee.
Yeah, they pay you a small amount to have 40,000 followers on Twitch or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Get those subs. Half off sub Tuesdays or whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
That is Inside Xbox. That's really the only news. There was man, I feel like there was another story this week, but there were some financials that came out from Nintendo as well, but like that wasn't super. Animal Crossing did like fucking buck wild, y'all. Like we can't even literally 3 million over Nintendo's like highest sales projection for that game.
It turns out everyone loves that fucking game.
Yeah, dude. Jolly.
And they were all waiting for it. It's like when they were telling you to make it for the past 10 years, they were serious.
Yeah, this was like a very much a people showed up for this one. It wasn't like Super Mario Maker or anything where it was like they finally did this cool idea and people still refuse to buy Wii U. Everyone was like, no, we'll show up for this one.
And AOC plays it now, so
Yeah, Gary Wood is slowly taking over the internet with Animal Crossing.
yeah, Gary Wood is making a talk show, and everyone wants to be a part of it. Apparently,
Yeah, from politicians to literally Elijah Wood. So, yeah, I think Elijah Wood was on it today, which is
really?
Which is just crazy. Either today or Monday. So, yeah, that's wild. That's cool though. Animal Crossing is a wonderful, weird thing. That is, I think that's gonna do it. Actually, I forgot we did get a question this week. If you'd like to be a part of the show, you can always tweet your questions at IrrationalPod with the hashtag IPQ. You don't have to use the hashtag, but it certainly makes it easier to find. And also, you can send an email, mailsack at irrationalpassions.com, or leave us a voicemail, 404-590-1337. Standard long distance fees do apply. We got a tweet from Matt, a.k.a. Stormageddon, at DJ_Stormageddon. I don't know what Stormageddon is, but it sounds cool. He says, do you have a go-to game that you play at least once a year or more? Mine were always Chrono Trigger and the Mass Effect trilogy. As far as I'm concerned, together they make one long game. That's a weird long game. Chrono Trigger.
Yeah, that's quite the game.
I like when Chrono saves Magus, kills Lavos, and then goes to space. My shepherd's name is Chrono Shepherd.
Oh, that's my next run.
Yeah, that's it. That's got to be it. Do you have one of these, Jarrett? I have many of these that I'll answer, but do you have any go-to game, one playthrough a year for sure?
No. I think I did at one point. I know in high school I played the original Doom and Doom 2 a lot. I think just because I could. Like, I could beat them pretty quickly. I kind of enjoyed knowing all the twists and turns, and like I wasn't a speed runner by any stretch, but I found comfort in the repetition of just being good at Doom 1 and 2 for some reason. I don't think I can even play those games the same way anymore. I'd probably struggle through them now because I haven't played them in a very long time. I don't play games. There's no game I play once a year, but I do try to make it a point of playing games that I always regard as good again every so often. So like I may not play the same game once a year, but I'll probably find a game that I always like considered very good, or something I think in my head I always like really loved, and I'll find some time to play it again in some year, and like as I go along, just to make sure I can still make arguments for this game the same way I used to, or maybe like it makes a new impression, or I with my new context I can kind of understand what the game was attempting at the time.
How's it feel to know every 5 years from now you're going to go back and replay Death Stranding just to really...
I would be surprised if I ever play that game again.
Yeah, me too. I would be very surprised if you ever...
Unlike Metal Gear Solid games, which for the most part, most of them I feel like are pretty replayable.
2 is honestly rough for me.
2 is a lot. I think 3 I could replay all the time.
Yeah,
but like
fun.
Death Stranding is almost designed not to be replayed. Like it doesn't want you to do this again.
Yeah, it's kind of...
It wants to hurt you as you're playing it now, so you don't remember it for years, but you don't have to do it again.
Yeah, and it wants you to like get to the point where you don't have to play, right? Like it wants you to be able to make your ley lines of what are the transit that, like the things that carry you, the gondolas or whatever. Make those and then catapult yourself everywhere. It wants you to be able to like commit to the game enough to build a whole ecosystem for yourself.
Right. Until they take that all away.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
At the very end. It's like,
but
what?
Yeah, there's no one game, but it's just as a concept for me. I always try to revisit old games.
What was the most recent one of those that you played?
Last year, I played Final Fantasy 12 again.
Nice.
Ironically, I finished it like almost right before, maybe like 2 months before the Switch port came, and like added another update that like changed a bunch of shit in the international version that got redone. So like you can give people specific license boards that serve as classes, but you couldn't respec them.
Yeah,
in the Switch update, you can now respec them, which would have been super useful for me when I was playing through.
Yeah.
But yeah, the game's still good.
That's good. Yeah, I have a lot of stuff that kind of fits into this. I replay games a lot. If anyone listens to this podcast knows, Nabeshin and I are kind of peas in the pod with that. Like you said, we hung out with Barrett and talked to him about Persona. He's a similar kind of guy. He plays through the Batman Arkham games every year. You know, like that's his thing. So for me, like for a while, it was Kingdom Hearts 2. Basically, from when that remaster 2.5 came out in 2013 to 2018, like the year before Kingdom Hearts 3 came out, I played through Kingdom Hearts 2 almost every year. Which, like, when I keep in mind when I play that game, I play like a fucking psychopath, and I have to do everything in it. I have to collect all the synthesis items. I have to craft everything. I have to like fill out the journal and do everything.
Maximum pain.
But like, you know, it's 40 hours in Kingdom Hearts 2, which is a lot less than say like Witcher, where that's like a 130-hour commitment. And it's a thing that it's a labor of love that I love doing. You know, every time I go through and beat all the secret bosses and do all the everything, I just really, really like it. It's fun. It's a loop of a game that I think is just so wonderful.
Now, like, thinking about it, it's probably going to be Persona 5 for a little while. Just because I played through that game twice back to back, which is a thing I've almost never done in my life. And I could easily see myself replaying it again. It almost takes every fiber of my being to not just replay it now, because I know I will just depreciate the value of that game for myself, and I have to give it a little bit more time to really have fun with it next time I play it. But yeah, Kingdom Hearts 2 is the one I've replayed probably the most. Tales of Vesperia is up there. And I actually I play Tetris Effect still like once every 3 months, once every 6 months. Like I sit down front to back, try and go through the whole game. That game, I'm happy to say when I talked about it, if you go and listen to our Game of the Year content from 2018 and how impactful that game was with me, but also just how uniquely satisfying it is to experience, I still feel all those things about it and more. So I'm glad that game stuck with me. And anyone who follows me knows I haven't stopped playing Spelunky since I started, so in 2009. So think about that. That's it. That's the show. Thank you so much, Stormageddon, for the question. That's a good question too. It's a good thing to think about during quarantine times.
Yeah, you got all types of time to play some shit.
Yeah, exactly. I should be playing more of my backlog and also the games that I owe Nabeshin completions because I lost bets. But we'll talk about bets in just a little bit. Just a quick outro for everybody listening real quick. If you enjoyed the show, you should follow it on Twitter at IrrationalPod. Obviously, subscribe and rate and review us wherever you're listening, whether that be Spotify or Apple Podcasts, Google Play, whatever your preference is. You can also follow some of us on Twitter. Jarrett is at JarrettJohn. I am at AlFighter27. Nabeshin is at NABESHIN186. Follow us there. Everyone should follow Jarrett because he's criminally underfollowed.
Give me them likes.
Give me them likes.
Them retweets. I need my blue check so I can be reckless.
Yes, let's get. The goal is now to get Jarrett the blue check. If Jacob Bryant can get a blue check, Jarrett Green can.
If Jacob motherfucking Bryant can be verified on Twitter,
He doesn't even know how to use
I can
Twitter.
be the president.
The president of Twitter or the president of everything?
Yes.
All of the above. If you would like to or so inclined, you should check out our video stuff. Twitch.tv/irrationalpassions, youtube.com/irrationalpassions. If you miss the streams, we're trying to archive the big priority ones on YouTube. I'm going to hopefully archive all my Tomba ones on there as well. So that's it. Everything else is on irrationalpassions.com. We've reached the end of the show. It's just the two of us now, Jarrett. I don't know if I've ever gotten to the end of a show with just a guest. I guess you're not a guest, but one of the editors or just the two of us. Maybe it's happening to you.
Welcome to that.
Yeah, welcome to this intense one-on-one podcasting. It's time for bets. This week's bet. Do you remember what betting team you're on, Jarrett? I'm just curious.
I thought it was yours.
It is mine.
This is we're loading the deck here.
We are loading the deck, but I'm going to make sure Nabeshin does get his bet in, just so this isn't completely unfair. I'm very proud of this bet. If anyone listening thinks it's complicated, you can re-listen to this and try harder.
I only just read it, so I would agree.
Next week, on I think Monday, it's either Monday or Friday, but next week, regardless, Star Wars Episode 1 Racer will release on Nintendo Switch. I don't know why they took the pod out of Pod Racer. We'll never know.
I mean, pod was it says a lot.
Yeah,
it suggests a lot.
That good old pod racing, if you know what I mean.
You don't do pods here.
When I search YouTube this time next week for Star Wars Pod Racer Speed Run, and I'm going to list the search results by most recent. I want those 0 view baby channel videos, the bottom of the barrel, top of the barrel for me. I'm going to list it by most recent. What will be the speed run time of the 5th video from the top? How did I come up with this bet, you're wondering?
I'm wondering.
Legitimately just popped into my head. Because I think like a psychopath. I looked.
Mhm.
I looked. Yep. I looked up the current video, which was posted about 2 hours ago before we had started the podcast, because I want to have a point of reference. And it, like I was worried that maybe like nothing would come up, like just wouldn't be the game. But everything was exactly what you think it would be. And the fifth from the top was an hour and 31 minutes and 6 seconds was the speed run. It seems like I saw hour like times as low as like 58 minutes. I think that was the shortest time I saw, probably shorter. So I don't know what the like world record speed run for completing the story mode of this game is, but that is your point of reference, Jarrett. What will the time be?
So that's a valuable point of reference because the 1 hour, 31 minutes, 6 seconds is not the fastest time.
Yeah.
It's just the time you found.
It's just the fifth from the top.
Okay. I think it's going to remain that.
Ooh.
I think it's going to be that same exact hit too.
I'm just saying that video was posted 2 hours before I looked it up.
Oh, that's true. You're sorting it by recent, not just by
Yeah, that's the thing. I
traffic.
was trying to fucking fuck you up with that. The goal is to make the perfect bet where there is just no rhyme or reason to it. And I'm getting closer, I feel.
All right. So let's say I think I'm an hour, probably like an hour 50.
Hour 50?
Yeah.
Cool. I'm going to say 67 minutes.
Wow, you think we got pros out there?
I think we got some pros out there, dude. Which is an hour. I'm going to say hour, 7 minutes, 39 seconds. I'm fully believing that
You're in it.
this person will be amazing. And I will collect Nabeshin's bet. In the last week's bet, now it's time for that. In the Assassin's Creed Valhalla demo during the Inside Xbox, you see I wrote the word demo there, very optimistic. Trailer. Gameplay showcase. In the demo during Inside Xbox, how many seconds will the protagonist be fully off the ground total? I believe we didn't include boat time because that would make things too complicated. So this is essentially leaping or climbing through trees or climbing up walls. Excuse me. No climbing at all. Very pissed. There is one shot at the end of the trailer of the assassin man leaping and stabbing a man, and that's the only time that I saw that he lifted his feet off the ground. It was about 3 seconds. I said 62 seconds. Nailed it.
Wrong.
Nabeshin said 1 second. Scott said 12
Close.
seconds. Tony Horvath said 3 seconds.
Wow. Of course it would be Tony.
Of course it would be. He always wins when he's not here. It pisses me off so much. Which brings the betting team totals. I have 3 points. Nabeshin has 5 points. Scott has 1 point. Tony has 4. Tony's overtaken me now. He's in second place. Bastard.
We got it this time.
I think we got it. This not just because we're the only two betting, but I feel pretty good about our odds. That's it. That's the show. Thanks for hanging out, Jarrett.
No problem.
Sticking through to the end here. Thanks everybody for listening. For everybody that jumped in to the chat, tuned in live. Very appreciative of all of you. And also, thank you to Danny Wiesner for our opening music of Two-Player Co-op and our closing music of The World is Saved. Sorry we had the smaller cast this week. Everybody's got a lot of stuff going on, obviously, but we love and care about you regardless. Apologies also for the weird release schedule for the podcast. I had a lot of stuff going on this week, a new internet coming in, so hopefully we'll be more consistent going forward. But that's it. That's the show. Thanks again for coming on, Jarrett. Thank you, Nabeshin, wherever you are, helping your nephew get home, hopefully. But I've been Alex O'Neill, your host this evening. Play your game, stay rational. We will talk to you all next week. It's never been like me and some other person for titles. So it's like one of those things where like, okay, if Tony's not here, Scott reads the titles. If Scott's not here and Tony's not here, Nabeshin reads the titles. So now it falls to me. The last fish in the barrel. Congrats. The most elusive one. Titles. That was old internet Alex. This is new internet Alex. I can't show up if there's no haters. I love the Corona world. I forgot I said that. Just put Sonic on it. You deserve this. And fish hands. I feel like you deserve this is still and to be fair, it was just that moment of me like looking down and seeing the Dr. Pepper can saying that.
If you have to have a picture of the Dr. Pepper can if this is going to be the title.
Yeah, I can do that. I'll take a picture of my actual can right now just in case. Just you deserve this. Do I? Is that how we're gonna go with this?
Some marketer like was super proud of that too.
Here, let me. I'll write the thing I want you to say. Oh, that's not how you bold things. Every time I number the episode now, I legitimately don't know what number was the last one. The numbers have gotten so big that I do not know where we're at.
That's the thing with numbers. You got to keep counting them.
Yeah. Whenever you're ready.
You're listening to the Irrational Passions Podcast, episode 466.
You deserve this. It really could go either way is the thing. It could be a positive thing.
I think that's why it works here.
It's so beautiful.
It's not like welcoming, or is it? Or is it?
Or is it? Thanks everybody for watching. Have a good night, everybody.